Welcome to the Geek Homeworld podcast. I'm your host, Ed, aka The Savage Tech Man. We talk film, TV, and tech, all from a geek perspective. You can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and you can subscribe and follow on YouTube at Geek Homeworld. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Be a part of the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone. Hello, the world. Welcome to a very impromptu, sort of on time, but never on time, my style. Saturday Night Live stream. It's on Ed time, so we're on island time. So that's whenever the mood hits you. Let's see. I got Digital Caveman here. Prophet Directors. Greetings.
Yeah, I'm not sure I should be here. I didn't know it was a Saturday Night Live stream. I really hate Pete Davidson.
I did too.
He won't be here. I can pretty much guarantee that.
It's the hate Pete Davidson stream. I'm all for that.
The SNL's really gone downhill, hasn't it?
It has its moments. It has its casts, and it has a few moments.
I don't think I've watched it since like the early 90s.
I watch it just habitually because sometimes they'll be spot on a few things, and then you got a few dead segments. But
now I will say like scrolling through Instagram, I do like when I hit up the Colin Jost and
Colin and
those are funny.
Michael Che.
Oh yeah, those two when the two of them are reading each other's jokes.
Yeah, especially the year end. Yeah. Oh God, they get
and
so
I was so surprised.
crazy.
I couldn't believe that he's married to Scarlett Johansson.
Why not?
It never. I would have never put two and two together there. Except that one of the clips they showed one time was like, "Oh, he's like, yeah, my wife's waiting out back," and then
And Prophet, if you
like, what?
If you notice,
Did you see the one where Michael Che wrote him nothing but bad jokes about Scarlett while she was there?
Yeah, I saw that. She was like backstage, and she's like, "What?"
The thing is, without all the Marvel makeup, Scarlett is a pretty normal-looking woman.
Yeah,
she's pretty awesome.
Like she could live next door to you. It wouldn't be, that shocking. You know what I mean? Especially if you look at the way she looks in this new Jurassic World trailer.
Oh, is she in it? Because I haven't even seen the trailer.
She's
her
like
whole new like the thing the director told her was he didn't want her to have any makeup for this movie. He wanted her to look like a rough and tumble, someone who worked with animals or whatnot. You know what I mean? In dangerous environments, like professionally. So
I work with animals.
Woman
Look
that
at
would
who's here.
take her face down in makeup. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, because I have my new camera.
This came in today, the new one.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this on our last night's stream.
Yeah,
and that one's thigh isn't broken.
Yeah, this one is not broken, and in fact, some of the knee joints and ankle joints and stuff were really kind of tight. So I had to get my handy dandy heat gun, my Temu heat gun, and blast it a little bit. But yeah,
I mean that's I do that with any like third party smaller company figures, because they don't have the quality control that because it's a small operation usually.
Even sometimes the Hasbro stuff has to be heated up. In fact, I heated up the hip joint was stuck on. I want to say it was Classified Series Ripper.
I need to read that instruction.
And I blasted some heat up in there, and that hip joint just, when I went to move it, it was goo. And I didn't even put that much heat on it.
Yeah, that's why I usually boil water instead of using the heat gun.
Well, I'll do that if stuff is really, really stuck. And but like a few seconds with the heat gun usually takes care of stuff. But that one it was just like that plastic that was in that pull down joint was it was super soft plastic. It was crazy.
I'm trying to play with my camera.
Yeah, this one is it's cool. I like this one.
Hey, who's that? What do y'all call it, dude? What's his name?
DFS, what's up?
How's it going, DFS? Yes, the Jurassic World trailer does look goofy as hell.
It did.
I hadn't seen it at all. I heard that it dropped and I forgot about it.
But I'm still gonna watch that dumbass movie, whether it's good or not. You know.
Me too.
At the end of the day, it's dinosaurs.
Well, I will say this about the Jurassic Park franchise. There was one of the movies that really pissed me off. And it was whichever one Vince Vaughn was in, and then he didn't get eat by a dinosaur.
I actually like The Lost World, the second Jurassic Park movie.
I like it except for the part that Vince Vaughn didn't get eat.
Yeah.
That would have been the perfect dinosaur movie had he got
your money, Mikey. You're so money you don't know your money, Mikey.
I love it. So who else is supposed to be? It doesn't have
alternate heads.
Yeah,
you can see he's got like a cigarillo or a cigar in his mouth.
I thought it was a bone, like he bit somebody, and that was their leg bone.
When I first looked at it, that's what I thought it was. I'm like, what? And then I got to looking, I was like, no way, he's smoking, literally.
As am I.
And then there's the eat your face off. And unfortunately, that none of these are hinged. I think that would have been perfect.
Yeah, it seems like a very simple articulation point to add, you know.
And I mean, it could be like the teeth wouldn't line up right or something like that. But yeah, it just seems like a simple thing.
But at least he comes with a stoic head, so you can change it out if you want.
Yeah.
See, the problem that I've had with a lot of McFarlane figures, like Gorilla Grodd, for example, is he only comes with that screaming head. You know what I mean? It's like,
and that's one of the worst.
It really is. Sorry, Ed, we were interrupting you, and
no, I'm playing with my camera here, so you're going to see me do this
for no particular I thought reason. You were putting your hand up to say something.
No. Usually I do, but I was just reading online because I got the instructions somewhere, and you're supposed to put your palm up, and then it'll flash, a little green ring will flash, and it'll recognize you. So if I do that, doesn't always mean if you start seeing the camera after I do that.
I'm going to tell you this: you don't put your hand up to speak anyway. You just bulldoze right in,
bulldoze through it. But I've turned over a new leaf. It's the new me. I'm going to be quiet, calm, and considerate and compassionate.
I'm going to call bull crap on that.
Speaking of bull, invite Bull in. I'll even let him on camera. And everybody else.
Wasn't he here the other day?
Yeah, he was here.
He was, but he didn't come on camera. He was here last night.
Yeah. No. I think he was like, wasn't he Speedy or that Speedy dude or whatever it was?
Oh, I don't know.
Was that M3? I'm not sure because Kaz had Speedy somebody on his stream the night before, so maybe that was M3. I don't know. Oh, do I need to put you on blast?
Bullwinkle likes to do that. He likes to pop up and just sit there quietly and
that probably
was backstage to say something.
DFS, I don't know if you want to come on cam, but I got room for 6 total people, so you're welcome. I dropped the link in the chat if you want to come on. That's cool. I may rotate people out. I was thinking we might maybe we go on a little later and all of us go over and just crash Kaz and Bruce's stream.
It just depends.
Yeah, I love Kaz and Bruce, but sometimes it does get chaotic over there.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
It does.
Look at my eyes, dude. Can y'all see my eyes? I can't see my eyes. I'm gonna put
no, because you got me on blast.
Oh, I'm gonna put me on blast. Hold on.
Yeah,
look at my eyes. Blast. Look at that. That's not just old people. That's called freaking pollen allergies. I went down to Savannah. We popped in there for lunch with my in-laws, and
see, every time you put the caveman on blast, I worry for him because I swear to God that Death Star's aimed straight for his Aldarian head.
Well, yeah, I guess it could be. You know, I'm a little low for them to hit me, maybe. But I don't know how much they can aim that, you know.
I just don't want to see your head turn into a green CGI ring explosion.
That's funny. Oh man, I want to kill every tree that I see, man. My eyes are freaking puffy. I hate it.
I can pretty much tell you, I got like maybe 2 pine trees and some Bradford pear trees left in my yard after the cleanup.
Now, when your eyes swell up from pollen and stuff, is it the same as like if you'd got punched? Because we could just get the razor out, man.
Maybe you should, but like these lights are killing me.
Me, Mickey.
I might just sit in the dark here because these lights are killing me. Oh man, I'm such a whiny baby.
You are talking about the lights.
The lights are too
bright. You are crying like a baby, a hungry, angry baby.
Oh God, and I ate too much today. I ate 2 times worth the amount of food. We went down to this barbecue restaurant down in Statesboro. I forgot the name of it, and it was packed. And I looked around; there were no seats. And I just said to myself, I was like, I really wish we could get a seat. And the people right next to us, the front table, right where we were ordering, were getting up and leaving. And I was like, well, I'll be. So thank you, Lord. And we had some good food, and then we had to hit the road and come back and take the dog. Oh, Sentinel.
Yeah, but what Sentinel is it? Do you know?
The Barbie Sentinel, because he's pink.
No, this is the one from the arcade game.
It is. I was gonna say, hey, Mr. Sentinel, I'm sending you back.
Look at the
in pieces.
Like some of the.
Was that the one that came in the 2-pack?
Yeah, this is the 2-pack one.
Yeah, those are nice. I know. Jerm has a bunch of those.
I just got 1 pack, and I ordered that X-Men 97 one as well. Whenever it,
that'll make for a cool
in like
display.
September, October, somewhere along there.
That'll make for a cool display. A couple of those little ones and that big one.
Plus, I got 2 of the old Build-A-Figure, the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Sentinels.
Nice.
And what was it? The electronic Marvel Universe one.
They released that Build-A-Figure Sentinel as a whole figure once.
Did they?
Yeah, it was actually like they claimed it was for a different scale though, because what they did was they took the buck for the Build-A-Figure Sentinel and released it with the Marvel Universe Wolverine.
No. That's a different one than the Build-A-Figure.
It's different than the Build-A-Figure.
Yeah, it's got electronics in it. Hang on, I might have it handy where I can get a hold to it. Hang on.
I must ask you why you're getting up. Get me a drink.
Now, is that one's about the same size as the Build-A-Figure though, isn't it? I have nothing to show.
Except
really? What it's going to look like when Cobra takes over America.
What are you doing now that the White House has been partially destroyed by the Red Hulk and Captain America?
Oh, I haven't seen that movie yet, so I have no. I don't know about all that.
Yeah,
but as you can see in the picture behind me, the White House is unbroken and has Cobra banners hanging from it.
So we should have had.
Incidentally, that's a screen from one of the worst movies ever made. G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
Cool. Oh man. Do we want to give a impromptu preview of our 1986 show? You want to plug?
No. You can plug it, but no previews.
When I have to get that to you like ASAP. I have to do my list.
I'll get mine.
Yeah, I'll get mine to you tomorrow,
soon,
guys.
While I'm uploading. Yeah. Now here's the this is the Build-A-Figure.
Oh, let me put you on blast. Do blast. There we go.
I thought they was the same as the other one.
So this is the Build-A-Figure.
Now, what is that one from? That's from the movie?
This is from the old Toy Biz. Yeah. No, this is a comic.
Back in the day before Hasbro bought Marvel Legends, Toy Biz had them. Oh wow, it is significantly different.
Yeah.
Oh, I just.
And this one has
They are about the same scale though.
This one is slightly taller, just slightly though. Let me see if I can. get them both up here where you can see.
Now imagine if you had the HasLab to be the master mold.
Yeah, I know. One day when I win that $1 billion lottery.
Or when you convince Ed to make you the recipient, his benefactor.
No,
right? And then you just have to make Ed, meet with an accident.
I got some bills and credit card debt.
It's
you want that?
No, I got enough of that myself. It's just slightly.
Oh, sweet.
Just slightly taller. Now this one they did re-release with Marvel Legends.
Interesting that I know it's not called an arc reactor, but you got the circle one, then you get the kind of triangle one. That's interesting.
So there was a set like this. I think the colors were a little bit different, but it was this one that they released in Marvel Legends. I want to say it was an Amazon exclusive, and it did come with a Wolverine. I just can't remember which one it was. It was either Days of Future Past, and I think
that's
it was
what it was. I think it was the Days of Future Past where it's older Logan with the leather jacket, or the bomber jacket, if you will, because I think it had the wool collar.
And that one's cool. I mean, it's got electronics in it, which mine's either got corroded batteries in it or I pulled the batteries out, which I hope I pulled the batteries out. And so it says a few phrases like "halt mutants" or "stop mutants" or "mutants detected," stuff like that. Sweet. And then it makes like some laser blast sounds as well.
Since we're on Ed's channel, and Ed's more a channel about movies and tech and stuff.
Yes,
but he's got guys from toy channels on. Maybe we should talk about something that goes both ways, and maybe talk a little bit about the Fantastic Four.
Oh, I'd love to. We're talking about it last night.
Yeah, I'm actually, that teaser trailer has given me, a little bit of hope. I'm cautiously optimistic about the film now.
I definitely like the look of the cinematography. Like I made a comparison myself in terms of like what the film looks like in terms of like cinematography, and I said it to a friend of mine, and I think it kind of pinpoints exactly the look of the film. It looks like The Watchmen during the day.
Oh,
yeah, right? Yeah. It kind of does.
It's like that same, like exaggerated cinematography, but everything's bright instead of dark.
Watchmen is a utter masterpiece.
Even the unlimited edition is. The theatrical release is kind of trash.
Yeah, the theatrical release is just
usually is.
Watch the director's cut or the ultimate edition, whatever it's called.
And honestly, on The Watchmen, I think the film is better than the comics when you watch the ultimate edition, because it's literally the comic all the way through.
I think the movie actually flows a little bit better than the comic does.
The thing that I think makes way more sense in the movie than it did in the comic books, because in the comics, Ozymandias or Osmodeus, whatever you want to call him, his plan is to create a giant. Hey, Curtis, you should grab that link, man.
What's up, Kurt? The link is up in the chat.
I'll drop it again.
In the comic books, his plan is to create this kaiju alien corpse and drop it on New York, right? And that's supposed to make the world come together in fear of these kaiju aliens from another dimension, right? But what the movie does is he makes it look like Dr. Manhattan leveled New York. And that should be a more unifying experience than some random alien corpse, right? Because what are the people going to be worried more about? The off chance that another alien corpse will fall through a hole in dimensions, or the very real idea that Dr. Manhattan will fucking spank you?
Yes.
So you're saying you want to get spanked by Dr. Manhattan? What?
No, I'm just saying, like, that's fear of Dr. Manhattan is a known factor that definitely would make the world join together.
Exactly. It could change reality.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Right.
Whereas, he looks like he's got a governmental dental plan.
Yeah, I don't think most people would be worried about a giant alien corpse. You know what I'm saying? How's it going, Bull?
Hey, Bull.
It's like little skulls and stuff inside of his mouth.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that, Curtis.
Curtis, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Kurt.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry, dude.
Moment of silence, but Curtis is dead.
Yep, definitely. How long the moment of silences last? Because it's really hard on me. A moment of silence.
At the end of the day, man, we all have a time to go.
Yeah. Just got to do the best with what you got while you got it.
Right. All we can do is, as his friends, send him our prayer, him and his mother our prayers, and
yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers, and
yeah, let us know if there's anything we can do, Kurt.
Definitely. Yeah, sorry about that, Curtis. That's rough.
Apparently, Digital can send an owl bear if you want him to hurt somebody.
Yeah, let me.
Yes, the woodland one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot better than the white one.
I picked the white one up at Ollie's for like $10.
That's not a race thing for all my liberal friends who want to get mad at me automatically.
Your liberal friends approve of that.
So I picked the other one up at Ollie's for $10, and so I was like, well, I really want the other one too, so I'll pick this one up too.
You have to do a voiceover for that owl, Prophet. I feel like you could do a good voiceover for him. He's like, got that look. What?
Let's find out. Oh,
that means I need a little Tootsie Pop to go with him.
Oh gosh, that would be perfect, dude. I'd watch that video.
I finally picked this dude up when they.
I have the other one, the one with the red vest, the one that looks more like Leatherhead.
Well, I have like 4 KO Ninja Turtles, and that's the extent of my Ninja Turtle collection. So I really wasn't picking this up to be Leatherhead. I just thought, Croc Master.
No, I get it, and it's not going to be Leatherhead for me either because I don't collect Ninja Turtles. But I do have a joke planned for it. Basically, Copperhead's going to be watching Croc Master play with Fiona.
Yeah,
and he's going to make a comment. Wow, you are really close with that crocodile. And Croc Master will be like, I'm not that close.
Oh dear.
And then Leatherhead's going to walk by going, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
So he's the baby of Croc Master and Fiona.
I have a few issues with this, but I'll save that for the review.
Yeah, honestly, if I had an issue, I would say I wish that there was an extra ball joint where the neck meets the body, rather than having to switch out the fucking neck piece to make him look in different directions.
Yep, that's my biggest complaint.
Yeah, that's my only complaint, really.
Is that talking about like M3 was talking about like using magnets or something? They could do that. We were talking about last night with articulation.
Well, the problem with this particular figure can't really be fixed by magnets.
I thought magnets could fix anything. Like
not
animal
quite.
magnetism. My animal magnetism.
Yeah, I'm gonna take all the magnets I have and turn them to repel you.
Okay, man, is that your action figure? It kind of looks like you.
No. There's not enough gray. There's not enough gray. There's not enough gray there.
That's another one of those crossovers. That's Masters of the Universe crossed over with Hellboy.
He's got M3's. He's got M3's reverted gray instead of the gradient on the sides. He's got it down the middle. That's funny.
Why does Masters of the Universe need to cross over with everything?
I heard they're crossing over at Barbie. I made that up.
No, but they did recently cross over with the Ninja Turtles and
Ninja Turtles,
with WWE.
Right.
The Ninja Turtle ones has gone on the longest because it's done like 4 waves already.
Yeah, is it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and oh god, yeah. I don't like crossovers.
Helicopter He-Man.
Helicopter He-Man for real?
No.
Oh, it's like okay.
This is a
Australian. It's Australian He-Man. Look, he's got a 3-wing boomerang.
So he holds it in his arm. He's called Flying Fists.
Is that his his windmill?
Oh my God! So it's literally like imitating a Popeye trope, where Popeye spins his arm really fast and punches Bluto like 50 times.
Yeah.
I'm Popeye the Shield.
Yeah, I don't collect the origin scale stuff, but yeah, some of those are really neat looking DFS.
Yeah, that Evil Lynn is amazing, man. Baroness wouldn't let me buy her.
Baroness don't seem to let you do much, does she?
So there's some things that
she's
coming
insecure.
up. She's on Digital Caveman Presents.
So I mean, seriously, I fuck around with Dorado once, and all of a sudden, Baroness loses her shit on every.
We know who
runs. You're always going to go back to the librarian in leather.
Yeah, well, I think we know that Baroness runs the White House there, where you preside.
Well, I can guarantee you, it isn't Cobra Commander.
It's not Cobra Commander.
Yeah, you should see what the Baroness did with the Lincoln bedroom, though, man. There's sex swings in there now.
God.
But from what I understand, it's not the first time.
So you're inviting the Clintons?
Yeah, that was probably back during the Kennedy administration.
Right.
Or the Clintons.
Marilyn Monroe. Happy birthday.
But I like the idea that they had in Mars Attacks that there's actually in the White House a Kennedy room, but it's like a secret hidden room.
That's funny. Lord.
Right, but that's the thing about Baroness, right? Because as men, we'll like look at a dominatrix and be like, "Oh my God, that's hot," but then the minute you're tied to that bed and she's like digging a spiked heel into your rib cage, you're like, "Oh God, what's happening?"
Oh yeah, banana split, whatever.
You're like,
what's the same word? Oh my God, no,
I forgot.
It's like banana split was last week, bitch.
You said, so you're like, Mom, this is your second job. Oh, my inside joke.
Yeah, that went a little Freudian there, man.
I guess it did.
Now I'm kind of worried about you.
There's nothing worried about it. I'm worried about my face. I feel like my eyes want to close.
That'll be all right as soon as the pollen goes away.
Oh, I hate it, man.
In 6 months.
It's going to be like 22 degrees or something crazy later this week. I'm like,
as long as it doesn't ice up or snow again, I think I'm okay.
It's weird. My weather channel app's been having a nervous breakdown this whole season. It don't know when it's gonna snow or not snow, or
I got the roofers coming Monday to patch up my roof. Because there were a couple of holes in it from the tree that fell over on the roof, but we couldn't see it because all the crap was in the way. It doesn't seem to be leaking. So, but I did get up there and I put some Flex Seal tape. I popped the shingles and put some Flex Seal tape over the holes over the shingles. So
there you go. I watched these guys. I think like 3 guys on the second story roof. That's one of my neighbors behind me. They started in the morning ripping the, what do you call it? I call them ceiling tile, the roofing off of there. By the end of the day, like by sunset, they already had that whole side done, and then a little layer below. And the guys were hanging off a rope down the side of the thing. I was like, oh man.
Man, that sounds like a lynching, man.
No. They
were hanging off a rope from the side.
Lord.
No. They had the rope and they were,
they were harnessed. What he's trying to say is they were harnessed in.
You can tell, obviously, I don't do roofs.
They were harnessed.
At least you might say roof and not roof.
It was probably a very steep roof.
Is it a buggy or is it a shopping cart?
Like, was it one of those roofs
you're on
that does this number right here? Like really steep.
It was really steep. Like the top part's like really steep, and then down here, like separated from that, there's like a little patch of roof, like And they were coming down. Yeah.
Could you imagine having to roof one of those A-frame houses?
Oh
my
like
God.
This?
Yeah, the
as
ones
long as you have the harness on, it's fine.
Yeah. But I never actually seen anybody.
There's so many roofs up here that still have tarps over them. It's insane.
There's some in this neighborhood, and there's patches, and people you can tell the tarps have already changed colors and stuff. They were blue, and now they're gray.
Wait a minute. There was
one
the hell is anyone's house still in any sort of trouble? Didn't Kamala give everyone $750?
No, it's more than that. But no, it was
that's
insurance. You have to deal with insurance, though. Yeah, it goes from insurance.
Hey, if I would have known this, had my wife done just herself, I could have went back in and done just myself on that FEMA stuff, and we would have both got $750.
Is that
legal? Yes, it was legal.
But you live in the same house. That sounds like double dipping. I'm gonna have to report you to Elon. That would be government waste.
Well, you can report me all you want to.
No, that's not government waste. You know what's government waste? $46 billion for condoms in Gaza.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I do. That stuff wasn't really purchased right there. They didn't purchase that stuff. They might have purchased, I don't know, $10,000 worth of it, and then the other $15 million went into other people's pockets.
Oh, you mean like the 80,
like an Independence Day,
the $80 million that they paid to Chelsea?
Now, you don't think they paid $12 million for a toilet seat
to do something in about Ukraine or something? I don't even remember what it was.
Guys, when someone makes a salary of $150,000, let's say that I make a salary of $150,000 and I work my job.
Congratulations.
For 5 years or 10 years. And then after that, all of a sudden I have $35 million. Wow. How did I do that on a salary of $150,000?
Obviously, you're not a toy collector.
It's your OnlyFans page.
That's what I'm saying. Elon Musk is going to go get all those people. They understand that they laundered that money to pay their pockets, and they're going to get them. And I hope every damn one of them goes to prison. I think they should.
That's, if they can find the
taxpayer dollars, I agree. If you're abusing taxpayer dollars,
that's what they were doing, Ed. And they were padding their pockets. They've been doing it for 70 years. I mean,
come on, man.
70 years.
$140 million a year for fucking ape Social Security.
And what about all these people coming on TikTok and whatever and bitching about, oh my God, the government cut my $40,000 EBT card down to $1,000.
Hey, caveman, unrelated, but
hey, I didn't know TikTok was a corn site.
Related to your roof, they just put us under a big wind advisory. They said we're going to have 45-mile-an-hour winds here tomorrow.
It'll be all right.
Hey,
it's got Flex Seal on it, man. It ain't coming loose.
They're going to blow your roof. It's going to blow your tarp, your magic tape off of your roof.
No, it won't. That shit is fucking.
It's if they replace your roof, just make sure they use blue tiles.
Blue tiles?
Why?
Yeah, because blue doesn't burn in the mystery fires. In Maui, all the houses with blue roofs didn't burn. Gotcha. In California, blue garbage cans and blue umbrellas did not burn.
All right, let's go off the deep end. Let's dive in deep on this.
Oh Lord, right. Here we go.
So we have the grays, right? And then we have the lizard people. So let's get to the root of it.
I don't think we have any of that. I just think we have a bunch of
crazy
rich people afraid to lose their riches who've done a lot of evil shit through their lives and are afraid of being exposed.
They're all corrupt, and all the people that are using their platforms right now to bitch and complain would be the first people that I went after and audited, because those are the ones that are telling you they have something to hide. I'm telling you, that's how the world works. They're scared. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you another thing. All that money they've been sending to Ukraine over the past 2 years was a slush fund because they knew Trump was going to win, and they knew he would do this, and they knew that their money would be cut off. So they pushed it to try to fill their pockets before it was turned off. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, that we should probably not get into politics too much, and maybe
No, I don't want that's fine, but I'm glad. I don't care. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat. I don't give a shit what you are. But if people are stealing from us,
I'm the one that made the Kamala $750.
If the government has been stealing from us, we all need to be on the same page and bond together on this. They need to stop being so corrupt. I'm not saying I am, but there's tons of people out there that can't afford to feed their kids that are struggling, and these people are stealing their money. They should go to prison.
I want to turn myself in. I've got to show you video proof of what I did. An egregious act. Caveman knows, but just give me a second to pull up the phone.
But I can be done talking about it because I don't. It's fine. But what I'm speaking is truth, and it will come out.
Hold on.
But unless, of course, the media doesn't allow it to come out public.
Where is
but that's a different.
I think this administration is so transparent that the media can't hide it.
I thought it was funny the other day. Trump kicked
eggs. What was that?
He kicked AP out of the damn White House.
Did you not give people trick or treat candy?
Hold on a sec. I just lost it. Where'd it go? Dang it.
What was that?
I'll show you in a second. Hold on. I'm going to ruin the joke. I'm turning myself in for this. It's something un-American. If I can, hold on, I got to get the window open. I got too many windows open. Dang it. You might have to get out and push.
Technical difficulties.
All right, can y'all see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. The other morning, I had, my wife had some leftover grits, and it's like, it's breakfast, and I stumble out of bed, stumble in the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawning, stretching, trying to come alive. And so I had to.
Wow! So you steal culture and lyrics.
I do. No. So I had my grits in my hand, ready to heat that up. Throw some butter on it. You know, when you microwave and you get that butter in there, it's so good. And then I had the eggs. It was a six eggs in the little half container, and it's a weird shaped container. It had a hole in the side. I don't know why. I guess eggs got to breathe. And I got right there, right in front of the stove, right by the counter, was about to put it on the counter, and it slipped out of my right hand, and all 6 eggs went on the floor. And that's $100 million right there on the floor I wasted. Right. So I'm turning myself in.
And get this now. His wife comes home and
no, I texted her.
So she asked him, did the dog do that? And his dumb ass says, no, I did it.
I know. I gotta be honest.
I mean,
I'm gonna own up to my
mistake. That was like $100 on the floor.
She would have forgive the dog. She'd forgive the dog.
I think it was cosmic punishment for cultural appropriation.
What Ed doesn't know
that as a white man, I'm not allowed to eat grits.
What Ed doesn't know is he's getting served with papers next week.
Yeah, papers to clean that mess up. But I guess I'm egg-centric. I don't know. But oh Lord. But yeah, so
wait a minute. Where's the drum roll?
Can you even hear that? Do y'all hear that?
That was so bad it don't even
we heard you.
Roll.
Okay. Did you hear that?
I think the worse it is, the more it deserves the drum roll, because the drum roll kind of points out how bad it was.
On a lighter note, how's everyone's day been? Good?
Yeah, my replacement
good
werewolf came in.
No, everything sucks, man.
So
it's all everything's on fire.
And this one didn't break, so good day for me.
Did y'all hear there's a meteor that's coming this way in 2032, and
I heard that.
I'll probably be dead before then. So.
Well, you guys have a meteor right here on the pad. I'm a meat eater.
What? It's a good thing M3 isn't here to hear you say that.
I'm not.
He'd be like, "What?" He'd be raising his hand. I'm next.
He told me they were going out to the club or something. I don't know where he said they were going. He said he might be on later. You'll see when we're on.
Well, he gave me a number, and I checked the listing. It was the Blue Oyster.
No. In M3's case, it would be the Blue Eggplant.
Yes,
the Blue Eggplant.
He tried to get profit to go.
Yeah, I told him it wasn't my scene.
Yeah, he said, I just can't deal with all them Smurfs.
This Smurf-tastic.
I'm like, I'm only 6 inches tall. I'm going to wind up someone's ass there. I'm not going.
Oh, it's a Diddy party?
Oh, Lord.
Bring the baby oil. But
you don't have to. It's
got plenty.
It's already there.
Yeah,
I bet he got a storage room in the jailhouse.
Yeah.
He got 2 cells, one personal cell, and then the other one right next door is just full of baby oil.
Hey, caveman, somebody got me this for Christmas. What am I supposed to do with it? It's a tool set. Do I give it to a handyman?
Well, traditionally with tools you fix it or build it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen.
I know what The Rock would tell you to do with it.
Who gave you tools?
I don't know. It's cool. You got little stuff. You got a suction cup in here. I'm not sure what that's for. I guess this is a guitar pick. I don't know why you'd have a guitar pick. That's not a guitar pick, is it?
Wait.
I know what that is. That's an electronics toolkit.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yes, that's what that is.
Here's something with a cap on it. Is that
those
to
are
pick your
tweezers?
nose? I'm not sure.
Tweezers. Those are tweezers. You pull that
how's
cap
that a
off.
tweezer?
You'll
That's for you. That's for you to use later, Ed.
I'm using it now.
No.
I've been bad. Oh, that is tweezers. I didn't know it did that. Oh yeah, that'll come in handy for some. Never mind.
The handy dandy tweezers.
There's a brush and oh yeah, it's got this cool little thing in here. It's like you put all your little bits in it, and it does stuff and it spins.
That would be a screwdriver. It's probably a ratcheting one.
Oh my God, man! How have you survived this long?
So, did you get that accidentally at a Dirty Santa party or something? What happened here?
No, somebody gave it to me because I always say I need like screwdrivers and stuff. You know.
I'm serious. You don't know what those simple tools are.
I know it. I know what they're for.
How natural selection has not yet claimed you.
I will tell y'all a funny story.
Society is way too soft, man.
When
there's a picture of me using a hammer.
When Ed got married,
right, he's holding it sideways
as a wedding gift.
No, I'm holding it like this or something crazy. I was trying to get around the corner,
hands like right up at the top of the handle near the head.
It was like, it was pretty bad. It was like pretty embarrassing.
Like I was watching some of those, like, those guys, they like, Asian girl builds a house in the jungle and starts a farm or whatever, and I'm watching a hammer and she's holding the hammer right next to the head. I'm like, this is the fakest shit in the world. This woman doesn't even know how to hold a hammer.
It would take her 50 hits of the hammer to pick it in. You can't get it like that.
What were you saying?
Like on the edge so you can hit it once or twice.
Yeah.
So when Ed got married for a wedding gift, my wife and I gave his wife a tool set. And it was all girly and pink and stuff like that. And
you were trying to appeal to Ed and make him want
she kind of was like a tool set. I said, yes, that's so you don't have to wait 10 forevers for Ed to try and fix something. Well, and she was like,
this is how things are put together.
Because she knew how to use all the stuff. I mean, it was just a simple like hammer and like a crescent wrench and stuff like that, screwdriver with some bits and
Yeah, I think my sister-in-law rebuilt the transmission. I'm not sure, but she could probably do it. I don't put it past her. My wife's very handy, but I'm not handy like my dad was.
Can I tell the story about the time that Stephen came over to your in-laws' house because you were changing a car battery?
I don't even remember that, but yeah, go with it.
That you want me to tell you why you don't remember that? It's because Stephen changed the car battery. Because he got tired of watching you go, what the hell am I supposed to do?
Then my work here is done, isn't it?
Jesus Christ. It's one of the easiest things you can do in a car, man.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. Now these days.
Sometimes it's difficult now. You got to go in and take 2 or 3 different pieces off just to get to it and get it out. It's more of a pain in the ass than anything. It's not hard. It's just
especially when the car is moving.
My wife has a 23 Charger, and that battery is up in the trunk some damn where. I had to look apart to see exactly where it was. But the cool thing about it is it actually has terminals on the engine, so you can still, pop the hood and jump something off.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
I thought that was cool.
A lot of classic.
That's what I love about that car company. They always warn you what the aim is on the hood. It's a Charger, so you better dodge. It's gonna ram.
Digital. A lot of classic car owners that go in and restore their vehicles, they take the battery and put it in the trunk. Yeah. That's what they do.
Yeah, so the engine, that's some people that put in all those chrome parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Caveman, at the college, they have a program that's quite lucrative for people to go through it. And there's a big need for mechanics. And my wife said, "Do you want to go into that program?" You don't want
now, I know there were many colleges over the country.
Yeah.
Well, that's
actually a college as if there was only one.
I do not know where my oil filter is.
It's a highly in demand.
Anytime you
now and for in the future.
Anytime you want to know anything, there's a YouTube channel to show you exactly how to.
I know. I didn't think of
before YouTube,
most of the country doesn't have the comprehension skills to follow along.
Before YouTube, there were these fantastic things called the Chilton's Automotive Manuals.
My dad had every one of them for every car.
When I got a car, I went and found the damn Chilton's manual for it. I kept that manual in the car until I needed it.
Yeah.
See, you need to be educated with your vehicles as well. Like if something goes on with your vehicle, it's simple for you to just go into Google, search that, and it will tell you 1 or 2 scenarios. Therefore, you can take that to the person that's fixing it and go, my car's doing this. I think it's either A or B. You tell me which one it is.
Another good
I'm going
thing
with
to do
C.
is
I'm going to charge you for all of that.
Don't
buy a car. Go online and look up what common problems are with said car.
Sure.
That's
that
not
way,
a bad
when
idea.
symptoms happen, you'll have an idea of it already. Yeah. What's going on?
And let me tell you guys, and I'm sure this will come as no surprise, but they would see Ed coming. At the dealership, he used to take his car to the dealership to get the oil changed. And of course, every time that he took it in there for something, there was
something else
that they sucked him into.
Well, the thing is, I put a lot of their kids through college, so
I can imagine that you did.
But that car ran forever, didn't
it? It did run forever. I will say that.
You gotta have transportation.
You should still have that car as much money as you put in.
You understand? My dad was.
Why did trans people need their own versions of cars?
It's their mission.
Well, you said they have that you got to have transportation.
Oh, I was gonna say trans.
Yes, and it has to be a Trans Am.
Can it be a transformer?
There was an executive order a couple of days. It's no longer called that.
It would be a robot in disguise, wouldn't it?
Well, it's something.
It's definitely in disguise.
Eggplant in disguise.
Hey, are y'all smitten with your mittens? I am. My hand warmer.
Like this one is a Trans Am and a transformer.
Nice. Nice.
He's a trans squared.
Oh, you finally got the Knight Rider one. You finally got it. Did you do a video?
Yes, it dropped Friday.
Oh, I have to go watch that several times. I've been asking you to do that video forever.
So what are kids' pronouns?
Does it have car? Do they have car and Goliath? And no, probably not.
No. This will probably be the only one that they do. But I really wish. See, this one is a bit too large. He does not fit into the approximate 1:32 scale when he's in vehicle mode. And I hate that, because if they had made him that size, he would actually be able to fit in the 86 Studio Series Optimus Prime's trailer.
Oh, that'd be
so they're missing, they missed a whole opportunity there. They could have repainted that Optimus Prime and made him the Knight Industries truck that would go around, that Kit would go up into, that was like their mobile base.
The good looking lady that always fixed the car.
Bonnie.
Her name. Bonnie.
Her name was Bonnie.
Of course,
not Devin, the blonde one. Devin. Nobody likes her.
Nobody liked the blonde one, yeah. That was God, what was her name? That actress was in everything.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, I know. Hey, did they have the General Lee and Transformer?
Not yet. And they probably never will.
I know. That would be cool.
Because of things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, things. And stuff like that.
But I will say they did a really good job on this one in the vehicle mode. I mean, it's spot on, even if it's just a little bit too large. It's more, the size of it's more like a leader class. And it should have been more of a deluxe class. See, because it doesn't even scale up well with Gigawatt, which is the Back to the Future DeLorean as a Transformer.
Oh, they have a Back to the Future one? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they have an Ecto one, Back to the Future.
Yeah, they got Ecto one. I missed that one.
They had two different versions.
All the different Star Wars ships they have.
Yeah, one show that you do, Bull, I was watching this months ago. Y'all were talking about the Ghostbusters one with the lights and everything. What was that?
Oh, you're talking about the HasLab one.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome looking.
What are you talking about on Pack Show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all were talking about that. I was watching that.
I'm not allowed on Pack Show. Pack doesn't like me.
Oh, God.
What did you do?
I have no idea.
I've never watched that show.
It's fun. It's fun.
Of course, honestly, with my production schedule, I don't get to watch a lot of YouTube stuff anymore.
And I completely understand that with everything you put out every night.
Every night, yeah.
Every night but Saturday.
Yeah. And how many hours does it take you to do that before you put it out?
Do what?
How many hours does it take you to do all that before it releases that midnight?
The longest part of the process is just rendering the video. And it can take a while. Just depends on how long the video is.
Yeah.
How much effects I put into it. See, like back in the beginning,
and chroma key,
when I was just using the green screen without any effects on it, it was just the green. It was a green background.
Yeah.
And, so those videos didn't take long at all because there wasn't a lot of editing to do in it. And because there wasn't any effects or anything in it, they rendered pretty quickly. But when I started
you're one of the only
people
that you're one of the only people that green screens yours. I mean, chroma keys it, right?
Yeah, chroma key. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you'll run across some here and there that do, and I've seen some that look better than mine. I've seen some that look way worse than mine. Like they didn't know how to adjust the numbers at all, or they had really bad lighting. But it takes 11 lights to light up my shit.
Good God. You just need a brighter light bulb.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, sweet.
You know what kind of videos I hate the most out of the toy community?
The
unboxings. It's like, can you not just make a fucking review? Do you have to spend like 15 of your 20 minutes taking the toy out of the box, as if we can't figure out how to get it out of a box if we buy it? I would
have to say most people streamline that though to like a 30 seconds, 45
Yeah,
seconds.
they'll do quick.
Well,
they'll do
then
quick
it's not an
cuts.
unboxing video.
cut,
Then why are you even calling it an unboxing video?
Open.
What they do is they'll do the real quick cuts of it.
Yeah.
They'll go.
I'm okay with someone doing an unboxing video of like a HasLab project or something that we all been waiting on, and they're like one of the first people to do it, and we get to look at that. I don't mind that.
Well, that's a different story though, because that's something that not everyone is going to get the opportunity to see. You know what I mean? But when someone's like taking like your average G.I. Joe classified figure, and making a fucking unboxing video, it's like, dude, you split the tape, you pull it out, you pop the shit out of the goddamn sleeve. What the hell are you even talking about?
And then if you want to feel special, you cut out the file.
Cut out the what?
It's ridiculous nonsense.
You cut out the file card.
Oh,
that's just people trying to make fucking content, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, leave that shit in the shorts where it belongs.
I've never heard that. That's funny. Let me use it.
Well, they say I watched a Tube Buddy
Let Opus
video
cut that up for you
last night, and was it last night? It might have been Friday. I watched it, and they're saying long form content is really making a comeback right now. Because
I told you that,
there's so many. Shut up. There's so many more people watching YouTube on their televisions.
Yeah.
Now, because YouTube TV and other stuff, but they've also now adjusted the algorithm so that they're promoting smaller channels more, and they're promoting smaller channels next to larger channels. So we'll see how that works out. I have noticed there's been an uptick. You told me some of your views were down, but my views are down. Not in the number of views, but the watch hours are down.
Well, we want to push these small channels that aren't monetized yet.
Exactly,
so that more people watch that instead of Mr. Beast. Then we don't have to give Mr. Beast $15 million a month.
That's true. Yeah. But I will say I have seen an uptick in subscriber numbers since the beginning of the year. I've gained 49 since the beginning of the year. I've gained 49 subs, but I've lost about this year.
Damn. Okay.
Since January the 1st. And
you only need to like, share, and subscribe.
But I lost about 1,000 watch hours. It might even be closer to 1,500.
Oh, I have a friend of mine. He's been getting back into YouTube and doing shorts, and his average shorts that he's been doing, he does like what's in the pot. That's his thing, and he'll have like a 30-second clip or something or a minute where he's like real quickly shows you what he's cooking for dinner or whatever, and he gets about 450 views. But mainly when the TikTok thing happened, since the beginning of the year, his views dropped to like 20 per reel, and he was averaging 400, 450, and now starting to pick up again.
I will say I think where a lot of my watch hours got lost was my top 10 week this year did not do anything like it did last year. My top 10s last year was like 3,000, 4,000 views, and this, I think the top one this year might have been G.I. Joe. It was between G.I. Joe and He-Man, and they were both like 680 something.
Wow, that's a big difference
there. So yeah.
Hey y'all, I just went into YouTube Studio, and my channel is 8 years old today. I had no idea.
Congratulations.
Well, here it is. It says,
but he's only been putting
you better
content
start
on
paying YouTube that child support then.
There it is. Can y'all see that? I don't know if you can see it.
It's backwards. You have to hit mirror on the thing.
I have to hit mirror on this.
Unmirrored that camera again.
Well, this thing has got a built-in thing. You see, because this is my right hand, so it's working.
You can just do it through StreamYard.
I don't want to know what you're doing with that hand.
No,
you can go straight through StreamYard.
Your camera fits your ego perfectly. Yeah. It follows you around. Make sure your face is centered.
Hey Ed, just hit settings and then go down. It says mirror my camera. It's right there on settings on StreamYard.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
You'll flip the whole thing, but you'll be able to read it.
Well, okay.
You can just tell us what it says.
Okay.
Yeah, it says, congratulations, your channel is 8 years old.
It says 8 something.
8 years old. Yeah, 8 years old today. That's pretty good.
Perfect.
Let me go back to that.
Yeah, you could have just read that to us without showing it. I mean, what were you? Did you want us to see the font?
No, I'm glad you did. I thought you were telling a story for a minute. I thought you weren't telling the truth.
Yeah, all you have to.
Come on, man! Why would you not believe the poor man?
So thanks for showing receipts. I appreciate it.
I always show my receipts.
Let's touch up my appearance. Let's see if it'll make me even uglier.
Minus 365 days.
Oh, it was thinking awfully hard.
Hey, K-Man, I want you to bury me on this one, okay? I'm looking at stats here. Go to your. Can you pull up your YouTube?
Yeah. Studio.
The studio. Yeah, and go to views and click on 365 days.
Under what content?
Yeah, no, under
analytics.
That? Probably. No, audience. No, is it audience? No, it's not. I don't know. I just you know me, I clicked on it and saw it. Analytics, maybe it is under analytics. Views, no views. Oh, click on your no. Click on your views. Just go to overview, click on that views. And it's got 28 days is what it defaults to. Put it on 365.
So nobody date Anna. She lights dicks on fire.
Oh, dear God.
Analytics?
Excuse me. Freaking pollen. Sorry.
Right. Blame the pollen.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So, did you
get
it?
You find that out?
Go to over. YouTube Studio, go to Overview tab at the top, and you see your views. Now click on the views thing, the box,
and do 365.
Yeah, you want me to go first? Or you want to go first? You're going to bury me.
How long do we have?
My views.
I mean, are we going through individual videos or just total?
No, just a total.
Okay, go ahead. You can go first.
Mine was up 178% more than the previous 365 days.
Oh, well, your percentage beats the hell out of my 24%.
But your views are going to bury mine. This can't be right, but it says I had 2,264 views.
Yes, and 2,000 of those were Ed.
Quiet. How many do you have?
Do you really want me to tell?
Yes. Yeah. Because
are you sure?
I do. It's probably like 65,000 or something.
No. It's 38,718.
Holy moly! Yikes!
And probably about 30,000 of those are that digital caveman guy. You know, he just turns his TV on and lets that shit run.
Yeah, I've already told you, Ed. It's not going to help your emotional state to measure yourself against other men. You don't know how to use tools, man.
I'm a tool, all right. What's your average view duration? You probably don't know that for your lives. Mine's 31 minutes and 46 seconds. I think that's pretty good.
For lives?
For lives. You don't do many lives, though.
No, I don't do a lot of lives. I want to change that eventually, but my schedule.
If you listen to me, you'll be doing more of it.
When I quit doing reviews, I'll do more lives.
Oh, this is interesting. Go to your audience. Go to your audience tab and then go down to device type. 53.8% of my watch time hours, at least in the last 28 days, was mobile. 40%, 40.8.
That's a new metric.
TV is only 5.3%. And tablet, nobody watches it on their tablet. So all the tablet users out there, get on it.
Okay, tablet, I got 2.7%.
Okay.
Computer, 15.8%. Mobile, 28.2%. And TV, 53.3%.
So you got it playing on all those devices in your man cave?
No. I never. Every once in a while, I might put something on my phone, but mostly it's just running off.
I wonder if You know, when you stream it from that to your TV, does it count then on your TV? I wonder. Does it switch over from mobile to TV? Because I do a lot of mine. I'll stream it to the TV.
If you're running it through your mobile, it's probably counting as mobile because they probably can't determine that you're, sending it to your TV
right
on your phone. So, what's your ages?
Oh, it doesn't have it keeps giving me that crap about it. Don't have nobody.
Oh, there's not enough information.
Nothing to show, but it tells me 38.2% of my audience in the last 28 days was from the United States, and I don't get that. Somebody has subtitled my thing. 5.9% people subtitled it in English.
Yeah, YouTube subtitles it.
Oh, this is the important one. Watch time from subscribers. 76.3 is people subscribed. 23.7 is not subscribed. I know a lot of people.
Well, your numbers there are better than mine. Not subscribed, I have 93.4. Not subscribed.
So your subscribers aren't watching. Your subscribers aren't watching.
Well, here's something you have to take into consideration when it comes to Digital's channel. He's also posting reviews of action figures. There's a lot of people who look for action figure reviews who just watch everybody's action figure reviews and they don't subscribe to any of them.
That's true. It took me a while before I actually started subbing to channels.
Well, you don't know who to sub.
I don't know why, but
yeah.
it just did, and it was stuff that I was watching all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only sub if I really like the channel because otherwise it takes you like 15 years to scroll through your subs and find something you're looking for.
And they're changing the community tab to something. I sent you that link.
They already changed it. It's got like the comments and all that shit in there now.
View all. Yeah, see, published, unpublished, held.
I've only had 19 comments in the last 28 days.
I've had 2. People will watch my stuff and don't comment. I don't understand. I guess I'm afraid they'll comment bad.
Holy
well, yeah, maybe it's their mothers raised them right, and that old adage: if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
I picked up a few subs this weekend.
Well, the other dude that showed up last night, that guy. Oh, what are you? 852.
852.
Man,
by Monday that might be down to like back to the 849 or whatever, because YouTube giveth and YouTube taketh away.
So you're making me want to go to Jimmy John's tomorrow because I haven't had a sub in forever.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm up at 85, but the guy that watched it last night, he's like, "I'll sub to your channel and all that." So the guy that popped in, that was pretty cool. It's not often you get somebody that discovers your channel like that.
It's
hard. A couple.
I'm going to tell you this: don't be discouraged by your numbers.
Oh,
and it's hard. It's hard not to be, because you just want to say, "Oh, nobody watches my content."
Look, if you're doing this for the numbers, then you have to be as dedicated to it as Digital is.
Oh, totally. No, I agree.
A week.
Right.
But if you're doing less than that, then looking at your numbers is pointless. You shouldn't be doing this for that. You should be doing it for the joy of doing it.
You should be doing that's exactly something I told somebody the other day. I was like, because they were asking me about YouTube channels and stuff, and I was like, because that's podcasts. Don't do it unless you really love it.
I had somebody that just started their YouTube channel the other day left a comment, and I offered to review their stuff for them and give them some pointers and stuff, and they were like, "Hey, great, please do that." So I did, and I gave them some simple tips that once you're an experienced YouTuber, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like
right,
use a decent looking background, use really low background music,
have good mic technique,
just stuff like that. That as a new YouTuber, nobody told me that stuff. That was shit I had to figure out on my own.
Right.
You know, so if you know, I see these new folks coming up, and I don't mind helping them out. I know it's competition in a way, but
not really.
I feel like it's more
not really because
build community than it
that's
is.
What I was going to say. Yeah,
to compete
that person will definitely subscribe to your channel, and they'll definitely comment, which means there'll be engagement from them, and that'll be one of your primary fans one day. You know.
So,
because
you know,
and if they make it, that's free advertising because they're gonna, you know,
yep,
talk about the people who helped them.
Yeah, it's kind of like when
know,
I said to Kate, let's get on YouTube.
You know, like I said, I feel like it's more important to build community.
It is
than you know.
Numbers don't mean anything. I'd rather have 10 rabid people that come to my channel every time I post something, or it's like, where's your next video, you know, than have 100 people or 500 people subscribe that once in a while might check out my channel. You know, I want people that are engaged in what I'm talking about.
Tell you another thing I would tell you. You know,
Ed doesn't like single people. He only wants people who are engaged or already married.
You know, at first, like negative comments and thumbs down, shit like that, it bothered me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, because most of the time the negative comments come in, you know, and it's something stupid like you suck or you need to do this, blah, blah, blah. I don't like the way you did that. But there was no constructive criticism.
Right. It was just there to tear you
down. And I feel like if you're going to give somebody, if you're going to go into their channel and just say they suck, then you're useless.
You know, I the worst one I ever got, a guy said, I pray no one's paying you for this.
And so, you know, and I always felt like, well, if somebody, you know, if they got enough balls to give you a thumbs down, they should go in the comments and tell you why. But, you know, it is what it is. But with experience, you learn that shit doesn't matter because it's all counted as engagement. Whether it's a good comment, whether it's a bad comment. That's why there's so much rage bait on, well, the internet.
Well, a lot of the big YouTube, not a lot of them, but there's a good percentage, especially like in the Star Wars community. And, I'm not going to call out this one, but there's one that I watch, and anytime a certain celebrity's name gets mentioned in the news, that's on their thumbnail. And when they do their next stream that day, and then they get on there and rat on that person, and it's not even to do with their community, it's that actress or you know, or something like that.
Let me interrupt you real quick. My rental period has expired and I will return shortly.
Okay, we'll talk amongst ourselves. But it
always cracks me up when they, you know, how many videos are titled Marvel is dead, Star Wars is dead. I'm like, really, dude? Because they're still making
Kathleen Kennedy is gone. You know, how many times has she
what a dumb
booted,
fucking thing that, you know, what a bunch of dumb clickbait garbage bullshit.
Yeah.
It waters down actual content, in my opinion.
And what actually kind of upsets me a little bit is all the negativity. And I didn't really watch the videos. There's a few I watched before Captain America came out. This is the third lowest rated Marvel thing ever. Oh, Anthony Mackie said something, and there's this section of the population wants to boycott the movie. And then that was one video. And the other thing is like everything negative. And I went into the movie and watched it the other day, and I loved the movie. Is it great? No, it's got problems, but I enjoyed it. I took it for what it was. I went in with an open mind. But there's so many, you know, it's just with the brand, you know, like it's popular now to hate on Disney, to hate anything that Marvel or Disney touches, you know. And some of their stuff is trash. You know, they've made some very big missteps in Star Wars and in almost every franchise that anybody's redone anything. They've screwed it up somehow. But, you know, I went in thinking this movie would be terrible, and I had a good time and enjoyed the film in spite of some problems. And, you know, there's things now from my initial review of it yesterday. There's things, that there were weak parts of the movie, but there are parts of the movie that really worked. There were performances that were good in it. And I saw a video today that was talking about oh, Captain America: Brave New World is the worst in the Captain America trilogy, or now 4 movies or whatever. And I'm like, that's
Well,
not bad
but
company.
honest,
That's
Ed,
not bad. Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, but that's not bad. Well, what they said is that's not bad company to be in. Yes, it might be the worst of them, but those were arguably maybe next to Guardians. But for me,
yeah,
for
some of
you,
the best
Guardians,
movies in Marvel. Yeah.
exactly. So that it may be the
Saying it's the
third
worst Captain America movie is not bad at
is
all.
not right. Is not bad at all.
Like
That's
saying
great
it's
company.
worse than Captain Marvel would be horribly bad.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I shared it on the stream last night that we did about Captain America. It randomly popped up when I literally walked out of the theater. It just happened to pop up when I opened Facebook, and I'm not even subscribed to that page. And it said in South Korea, it got a 91% out of about like 1,042 people that they had
Yeah, you
surveyed
said
or
this
whatever.
last night.
Yeah, last night. And so somebody likes the movie. Is it going to do bonkers box office? I doubt it. But box office isn't everything, and if we keep hating, I know we need to hold the creators up to a standard of being true to the characters, writing the characters, not putting too much representation in there where it changes the fundamental characteristics or I don't mean to say
Well,
makeup,
when
but
it comes
what
to
makes the
Marvel,
character up. Yeah.
when it comes to Marvel, if you look at Marvel as a whole, there's a
Yeah.
lot more hits than there are misses, and there's a lot
Of
of home
course.
runs in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, Star Wars is a different animal because
they've run that ship into the ground.
they haven't
Yeah.
made a good movie since Rogue One.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree on that. And the thing is, and this hate isn't new. This is something that was in the fandom when before there was social media. That was one reason that George walked away from it. He wanted to take a break and raise his daughters, and that's great. But I kind of wish he would have finished finished it all, and then before he
Yeah, it would have been nice
over.
if he'd have done the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Before selling it,
Yeah.
or he could have done like a thing where he sold it to Disney, but he got the final say on the saga. Right?
Yeah.
They could make their Rogue Ones, they could make their solos, but when it came to the Skywalker saga, Lucas was the one that got final say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the fans would be on board for that, and they were floating all these rumors. Oh, George Lucas is coming back.
But if
that's
you
wishful thinking.
remember, back when Disney first bought it, everyone was like, "Oh, thank God, it's out of that feeble old Lucas's hands now."
Oh yeah, yeah.
I heard a ton of that back then.
I did too, and I'm like, I wasn't one of those. And I love the prequels when they came out. Were they as good as the original? No, but I tell you, Revenge of the Sith, I put it up against a lot of other movies. Over time, it's grown on me, and I liked it at the time.
Well,
they got
you
better.
have to admit, like,
oh, I know he can't write dialogue.
I'll give you a great example. Right, when I watched Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
Right, I skipped past all the Frodo and Sam shit because it bores the tears out of me. You know what I mean? It's similar with Attack of the Clones. Whenever Anakin and Padme are on screen, I'm like, skip. Like, I'll follow Obi-Wan through his mission, on Camino and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's fine, his encounter with Django and all that. Right. But whenever it's Anakin and Padme trying to build their relationship with the worst chemistry I've ever seen in a movie couple.
I never bought it. Yeah, I never bought the relationship. The age difference was too much.
And dialogue, man. Oh my God. It was like,
well, we know that episode 1's dialogue, me and K-Man, that's our running joke. We're like, George Lucas, he's the visionary, he has the story and everything, but he's not allowed to write dialogue because look what he did in episode 1. And, when he started turning it over to other people, the dialogue got better. And you get the Revenge of the Sith, that is such a good film. And I think, is it the 20th anniversary or 25th is coming up this year, and they're going to re-release it in theaters, and I will be there to watch it.
Well, I think here's my issue, right? I think that the problem with the prequel trilogy, if there is a problem, is that he surrounded himself with yes men. Right? True. Nobody was giving him an honest opinion. They were like, "Oh yeah, that's great, Mr. Lucas." You know what I mean? Like, nobody was giving him an honest opinion out of fear of upsetting him or some shit. And you need people who are going to challenge you.
Except, like, it's so cool that the story they were asking in their interviews when it came out, when Attack of the Clones came out, and Mace Windu had the purple lightsaber. He's like, "How did you get purple lightsabers?" And he's like, "Well, it's a funny story. It was nothing to him." He's like, "I asked George. He said, I want to be able to see myself on screen." And he's like, "Can I want a purple lightsaber?" And Lucas explained, "There's only blue, red, or whatever, amber, or whatever you want to call it, the color." And there's green. And he's like, the good guys have the blue and the green, and the Sith have the red, essentially. And he's like, but I want purple. And that way I can see myself in the fight in the theater. And then George thought about it. He's like, okay. George could be okay with things, if you can kind of explain it to him.
Right.
But,
well, I mean, you look back at the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford, semi-improvised a lot of his dialogue.
He did.
Because I remember Mark Hamill famously said that he asked Harrison, how he gets away with not sticking to George's dialogue. And he says, and Harrison just said, "Look, kid, just say what you want to say. George won't even notice."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how, that's because Harrison Ford's great for that. Right? He does it in Indiana Jones as well.
The famous gunshot, where he pulls the gun out.
Right. Because that
was Harrison Ford.
But probably, arguably, one of the best lines in all of Star Wars, when he's about to be put in carbon freeze, and she says, "I love you," and he says, "I know." That's a Harrison Ford thing.
Yep. The fact that they finally killed Han Solo, that was him pushing that in the sequel trilogy. He said it's going to be more dramatic if Kylo Ren kills his father, because his original arc, Kylo was supposed to be the opposite of Darth Vader. He started good and he went bad, but he never got redeemed. He was going to be like the ultimate bad guy. And then, of course, they course corrected after Last Jedi and changed everything. And the Rise of Skywalker was a mess. J.J. Abrams was trying to appease
the worst
fans.
Star Wars movie ever made is Rise of Skywalker.
Easily. One of the things that got me when they're riding horses on the spaceship, on the outside of the spaceship. So how do you explain that?
The simple fact that J.J. Abrams thinks he invented jetpacks on stormtroopers.
Good point.
Right? They fly now. It's like, dude, they were flying back in the Clone Wars, you moron.
Exactly. Go talk to Favreau. He can educate you on that. But, it's sad. I'll always be a Star Wars fan, but maybe it's getting with my age. And me, Caveman, we're talking about this the other day. It was like, we just need to we've kind of let go of, I hope they bring Luke Skywalker back. At this point, I want Luke Skywalker not to come back. I don't want any of the original characters to come back. I want them to start a new trilogy if they want. Disney, call it Star Wars. Don't have anybody related to the Skywalkers in it. Let's just wipe the slate clean and you tell your own stories. Because y'all messed up.
Is a big enough universe where you could make 15 different TV shows about it, none of them with the same characters.
Yeah.
Just treat. Star Wars is a whole galaxy, right? You look at all the shows that take place on Earth. There's like a million TV shows out there that all take place on Earth in the same universe, and none of them will cross over with each other. It's like, why does Star Wars always need to cross over with each other? You know what I mean?
Right.
They always have to take some known character and shoehorn him into a fucking script he has nothing to do with. And that's one of the things that makes Rogue One so good, is there's very little of that in it.
Well, they took that one little thing that nobody really questioned and expanded that to a movie. And that was that was the best thing Disney ever did. And, but like when they, before that, or since then, they haven't really needed to do that. I mean, they've not replicated that. They did a great job with Rogue One, just taking that one little element, and we're like, oh, I never thought about making a movie about that, and turned out a great movie in Rogue One. But then they just go fiddle around with everything else, and they just destroy it. I just don't want to play in the Star Wars sandbox anymore.
There could be a channel that was just Star Wars, right? Like I pitched this to somebody else. It was a Harry Potter channel, right? Like the Wizarding Channel or whatever, right? And you can do so many different shows on it that have nothing to do with Harry Potter that just take place in that world, right? You do a sitcom called Muggles, where it's like the neighbors that don't know what about magic, who are always like being freaked out by their wizard neighbors that they don't know a wizard.
Exactly.
Or you could do a buddy cop show called Auras, where it's a couple of auras, like, you know, hunting down, like, you know, dangerous wizards or whatever, you know, and you play it like a cop show. You know what I mean? There's like a million different ideas that you could pitch that take place in that universe that have nothing to do with Harry Potter himself. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why when people want to expand the universe, they keep the universe as small as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm all for that. You know, like you have channel like YouTube channel, the biggest Star Wars channel, Star Wars Theory. He started making little theory videos, animations of, you know, what if Anakin didn't turn to the dark side, or, you know, all these kind of what if things. He created
but they're all still bound. I've watched those videos too, and they're good, but they're all still bound to the existing stuff and not just loosely based in the universe.
Sure. That's true. That's true.
Right? Like, why can't I have a TV show just called Stormtroopers?
I get that.
About a couple of stormtroopers and their daily life in the Empire. You know what I mean? You know,
I guess I was thinking that's what excited me about Ahsoka, because it was going into a different universe. So it is still loosely tied to all of that. So there is that connective tissue, but there were possibilities of where it was taking the storytelling for Star Wars.
Yeah, but the problem is they took the story into another universe or another galaxy or whatever, and it's still got the same fucking characters in it.
That's true. They dragged those people into that universe. Well, that's not what I'm looking for. Even though it was kind of cool, you know, having Anakin back and stuff like that, but still, yeah.
Right?
You know,
like why can't we do like a honeymooners type show about a guy who, you know, you instead of Ralph Cramden being a bus driver, you have him working in the shipyards on what's Han Solo's planet?
Yikes.
Corellia.
Brilliant. That's right. Brilliant.
Right. So instead of like Ralph Cramden being a bus driver, you have him. He's a shipyard worker on Corellia. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know, his daily life and his fucking neighbor, his friend, and, you know, they go and, you know, whatever, you know, they argue with their wives. You know what I mean? They struggle to make ends meet.
Right.
You know, they occasionally like have run-ins with stormtroopers or whatever.
Oh, well, you know, when I think about, I just thought about this WandaVision. You know how they did WandaVision, the episodes where they're in different sitcoms and all that. It's kind of a riff on that. I mean, yeah, it's still tied into the universe, but they were doing like, you know, like them throughout the different decades. It was like,
well, see, now I'm not going to hold Marvel to the standards of Star Wars by saying they shouldn't contain existing characters, because it's different with Marvel. Marvel does exist on our Earth, right? It's just our Earth with superheroes, and the superheroes are the focus of it. You know what I mean? So, like, you can't just do like you know, a buddy cop show of Marvel, because that would make no sense.
But I thought, you remember in WandaVision, the Marcy, what was her name, Darcy or whatever, when they were trying to figure out the hex thing that she had.
Yeah, the one that marries Howard the Duck.
Okay, well, her and that agent, I forgot what his name was. I would have loved to see. I remember people talking at the time. Take those two agents,
Agent Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo, yeah, and they should have created
he learned close-up magic from Ant-Man.
Exactly. They should have spun that into a little Disney Plus show, and they could have been like the X-Files, but within the Marvel universe. How awesome would that be? And they could do like,
they could have done that. Absolutely.
That would have been awesome.
There was plans for a show about the guys who clean up after the superhero fights,
which kind of ties into Michael Keaton's character. Remember?
Right. Most justified villain in all of Marvel.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what.
Dude, he spent all his savings buying the trucks and materials needed to do the job, and then they snatched the job out from under him with zero compensation.
Exactly.
Most justified villain in all of Marvel. 100%.
in watching Captain America, Brave New World, I felt the same way about the leader coming out of there. I was like, what Thunderbolt Ross did to him and all that kind of justified the leader and what he did in the movie in a way. I'm like, you kind of made the bad guy justified in what he was doing. So I'm like,
Bullwinkle got tired of waiting for you, Digital, and he left.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
No, we were just talking about how all these big franchises, excluding Marvel, would be great if they did shows that exist in the universe without, any of the existing characters. Right? Like, for example, in Star Wars, you could do a show about a guy who works on the, what did I say? The Carillion shipyards or whatever. Do like a honeymooners type show. But instead of Ralph Cramden being a bus driver, he works at the Carillion shipyards.
Yeah.
Or you could do a buddy cop comedy about stormtroopers. Just a couple of stuff. Stormtroopers don't know they're the bad guys.
It's funny that you should say that, because one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen on YouTube to do with Star Wars was ages ago.
The Trooper Show?
Kevin Rubio's Troops.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh my God. And it always said like, they're going to return, and that was the whole,
and I loved I wonder how they got around copyright with that whole bad boys. And I'm not going to sing anymore because I'll get added copyright.
Yeah, that's the last thing I need.
Well, usually on things like that, you don't get a direct copyright strike at first. I've gotten I've got a warning a couple of times, and I don't even remember what it was over. I don't think it ever tells you what it's over. It just says.
You remember when I did that?
Here's my thing: when you upload your video, right? It does a copyright check.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you are the ones that passed it. Why am I the one in trouble?
But it has some little fine print down there. This does not mean you won't be eligible for copyright strikes in the future or something like that. It's like this is just a preliminary.
It's just that passing the buck is what it is.
It's like when the Superman trailer came out, every channel, big and small, Warner Brothers had them, or however it works out. And everybody got it.
Make any damn sense, because all those people
every single
promoting.
Right, that definitely falls under free use because it was for review purposes.
And I did review purposes. I played it and I made sure I was talking over it. I was stopping it and talking, and I didn't follow any pattern of 30 seconds or this or that.
And
what it did say, it said this is not a copyright strike on your channel. We're just identifying basically that there was copyrighted material in there, and so there was nothing to contest or whatever. And so, they didn't do anything. And after that, like the next day, there was this big outrage online from every channel, big and small. Everything in my feed was like, what do you mean copyright? What? And so I think they backed off because they're like, people were doing this, reviewing it.
Something that wasn't illegal.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'm just
talking about it. And when you do it against so many people, you're looking at a potential loss of millions of dollars.
Right.
And, as quickly as they backed off of it, I don't really think it had anything to do with the people bitching and moaning about it. I think what it was, they did that in the first place to create controversy over it.
Could be. Yeah.
And
to try and make people go watch the video.
Exactly.
Whatever. So, I think that Superman trailer was great though. I really
I loved it.
And like the flying thing that everybody's bitching about now. What is the problem with that?
If that's all we got to bitch about, this is going to be a great movie.
I
want it to be.
I would have loved to have had a scene like that of Christopher Reeve back in the day flying like that.
But they could have actually done it, because this is all practical effects, but they just didn't do it. But I thought it was a clever, move there. But what the new rumor is now? I saw a video on it. I didn't watch the whole thing, of course, so I can't speak to the validity of it. But they said that they're baiting us with the Superman theme in there, that it's not actually going to be in the movie.
I would be completely surprised if they actually used that in the movie.
Yeah, I don't see why that's a selling point at all.
Yeah, they're just using that in the trailer.
That isn't in the movie all the time.
You know, they're trying to push your nostalgia button with it.
Yeah, and honestly, I want, as much as I want the John Williams score, I realize there's going to come a time when John Williams is no longer with us, and then you know,
he was going to retire like a couple of years ago, and then but he came out because he said, "Well, if Harrison Ford isn't going to retire right now, I'm not going to either."
Yeah, well, he's got some age on him, but that's fine. Yeah, but the thing is, you know, and while you were gone, I've said that I was telling a prophet and everybody that you and I've kind of agreed about Star Wars that we're not going to get too hurt by it anymore. You know, if like we're almost to the point that don't bring back Mark Hamill. You know, let's leave the Skywalkers alone. Let's just tell new stories in the universe
alone. But I would love for them to do a Luke Skywalker animated show in the vein of like the Clone Wars. And you know, like the further adventures of Luke Skywalker, you know, something like that. They can get a different voice actor if they can't afford Mark Hamill.
Well, Mark Hamill I think he's kind of at that point, and he's like, you know, I came back because it was just too enticing not to come back to work with Carrie and with Harrison.
Well,
but you know how clever he is. He said, but I didn't realize the only time we'd be together was in the lunchroom. I was like, oh my God, that is a burn on Disney. He's like, because they never put them in the same movie together.
Yeah. And I don't think they ever intended.
They didn't intend it.
They were in the same room at one point when they did like Jedi. The first read through of the script.
I remember seeing that
The Force Awakens.
Right.
You know, so, and there were several pictures of that, and they threw like R2 and 3PO in there too. And so
The Last Jedi should have been called The Hunt for Skywalker. That would have been a good title.
It should have been, first of all, not directed by Ryan piece of shit. But you know, I mean, that's my opinion. Your mileage may vary. I have no interest in seeing anything this man directs. I don't care how good you ever tell me it is, Ed.
Well, I just meant the cinematography.
He took a dump all over something I grew up loving. And then as an adult, that love continued, even though, you know.
Look, the problem
aren't the
with
greatest,
Rian Johnson, and the reason he should never have been given the film in the first place is because he openly admitted that he hated Star Wars fans before even taking the damn movie.
When you go for a job interview,
why would you hire someone that hates your target audience?
You don't go for a job interview and say, I need you to hire me, but I dislike everything about your company. So when do I start? You would just throw that out the interview process.
Because it was never Kathleen Kennedy's intention to cater to the actual fans of Star Wars.
Exactly.
Because I think she's said before that she
wants
doesn't
to
give
tear
a
Star
shit.
Wars down and rebuild it in her own image.
Yeah.
And now, you know, they keep talking about she was going to retire a few years ago and this and that and the other.
I'm tired of hearing the videos.
But I don't think she's ever going to retire until she gets a success with Star Wars under her belt, and that is never going to happen.
There's some those negative channels and all that. Everything is negative, regardless. They can't even give a shout out when they might do something good, you know, for Star Wars. And they're like, maybe we should just give her. We'll all go out and support the next piece of crap they put out, so she'll retire, and give her that just so she'll go away.
I don't even think that'll work. She'll go, oh, I was successful at this, so now I'm going to ruin it some more.
Yeah,
I mean, look what she did to Willow.
Yeah. But I want to say one thing real quick before we say that about the animated series. I would love a Luke Skywalker animated series, but I don't, as much as I would like Mark Hamill, I'm fine if Mark Hamill's done with Star Wars.
Yeah. As long as they get somebody who sounds.
I don't even care if they sound like. I don't even care at this point. I don't care that it sounds like I just want him to make something that makes sense to the character, that respects the character of where he was at that point. And literally, I could voice it. and it would be a hit. Anybody could voice it as long as the story was right and it was the right Luke Skywalker, that we expect.
For me, I don't care if they recast anybody, and maybe this is the comic book fan in me, right? Because for so many years I read comics like religiously, and it's like, you don't start the book over every time a new artist takes over.
No.
You continue the story. Even though the characters look a little different, you just accept that they're still who they are and you move on with it. I don't understand why we can't do that in the movie industry. I mean, they've already proved it's possible with Marvel when Don Cheadle replaced Terrence Howard.
Well, not only that,
when the Hulk got replaced,
Why is Star Wars? Oh, go ahead.
If you even want to go back a little further than that, how many James Bonds have we had over the decades?
Good point.
Some of them were good. Most of them were good. A few of them not great. Like Timothy Dalton, I think his couple of movies just suffered from they didn't write the movies very well.
They weren't Bond films.
No, they really weren't.
Timothy Dalton movies, they came off more like Steven Seagal movies.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Why is Star Wars? I think it comes down to this, and I'm probably not the first to say this, but just thinking about it now, Star Wars was never really meant to be 12 movies or whatever. It was meant to be, maybe
9
6
movies. That's what Lucas said.
Maybe 9. It's not meant to be all these shows and spin-offs. It was never meant to be that. I remember back in the day, and you probably remember this, Caveman, Prophet as well. George Lucas said, "We're not Star Trek." When he made the original trilogy, he's like, "This isn't meant to be, Star Trek 6, Star Trek 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. It's not meant to have that many.
Not even science fiction."
Right. And so why can't we have different Batman actors? Why can't we have different Luke Skywalker? I know it's hard to, I've never thought of it.
Bad example because they never continue the continuity. Every time they get a new Batman, they start over.
Yeah. Usually the origin story,
with the exception of Joel Schumacher taking over for Tim Burton. He switched Batmans a couple times and maintained continuity, but he was going to get toy commercials. He was not making movies.
Yeah, he was going to get another Batman film too, and then it came out and everything disappeared. I saw a video about that, and it was just like off the wall crazy. I don't even remember. It was so out there that I don't remember what it was.
Part of the that quartet of Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
You had the first one, which was really well received,
phenomenal,
right?
And you go back and watch it now. It can be a little cheesy.
I still love it.
I do still love it. That's that's my Batman movie. But
I actually like Batman Returns just as much as the first.
See,
I liked Batman Returns because of.
I really wish they had not taken the reins off of Tim Burton to do pretty much whatever he wanted to do with Batman Returns. In that first movie, the studio pretty much was there on set every day because he was a pretty much unproven to them director. So, but once it came out and it did billions, not at the time billions of dollars, but it did these multiple hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
they said, okay, this guy must know what he's doing, so here we go. And the Catwoman parts of it I didn't mind so much, but it was like the way that he did the Penguin, just perfect casting. I couldn't think of anybody else that could have played the Penguin at the time.
But it was toys failed because they were too dark. McDonald's or whoever couldn't promote the toys in their restaurants because they were kind of grotesque.
That's why. Well,
a bunch of parents cried about the film.
No, but not necessarily. But I mean, if you look at the toys, I mean,
it was the studio and the merchandising partners on that because the film was so dark, and they, the target audience of it was to sell toys to children. And that movie was just way too dark. And that's why he didn't get the next one. That's why they said, okay,
Right. And instead, like typical Hollywood, we get crotch and ass shots of Batman and Robin.
Yes.
And, hey, instead of letting the kids see this, slightly dark storyline, let's show them male genitalia.
And, I don't think...
Let's normalize all this deviancy so that we can enjoy a ditty party without going to prison.
Dear God.
And, I think that industry in particular misjudges how children are going to react to things.
Nipples,
and I'm not talking about small children.
There were nipples on the bat suits.
I know. Yeah, that's where it got ridiculous. I just posted that. I was just looking on Box Office Mojo. Captain America: Brave New World. It's Friday opening numbers 40 million. Not bad. That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, well, I tend to never listen to critics in the first place, man.
Yeah. But it's like everywhere. I have not found any. I found one video on that had the good and the bad. And I'm like, okay.
What I was talking about even goes back, even in the video game industry. Yeah, there may be some individuals who are mentally ill that will play a GTA game and then want to go emulate, what they do in the game. But for the most part, 99.99% of people who play that game realize, hey, this is a game. I know I can't go out and do these things in real life because that would just be insane.
And kind of related. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And no, that was the point I was trying to make. I just think I don't think children, get enough credit for understanding what's make believe and what's not when it comes to that particular industry.
Well, and the funny thing about the video game industry right now is how they're like unsexying all the female characters in all the video games because some wokesters are out there. That's offensive.
That's objectifying.
And it's like, yeah, but those
women.
People saying it's offensive don't play your fucking games. The guys playing your games all want to see the TNA on Lara Croft.
That was the example I was going to bring up too.
Well, I was going to say
that last trilogy of Tomb Raider, I enjoyed that.
You guys have touched on this as action figure connoisseurs. This generation isn't warming up to it as much as previous generations, especially our generation, like G.I. Joe. I know y'all talked about that. There may be a bit of a resurgence, but people aren't buying the stuff. Everything is digital now. They'd rather get an NFT or of something than actually buy the figure. It's like physical,
but you have to also take into consideration when we were in school and the teacher would say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? You heard things like police officer, firefighter, astronaut, scientist, all of these actor, football player, you know what I mean? And now what's the most common answer? Influencer. It's like, I don't want to have to do anything. I want to just be able to put a camera on my life and get paid.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sorry, but if you don't have any talent or anything to show,
no
you
marketable
can't do
skills.
that. But the internet lies to these kids with fucking numbers that don't mean anything. Oh, look, I have 1 million followers. It's like, all right, fine. What are they following you for?
Yeah, that's true.
And some, like, even my kids, my oldest, she'll be 21 this year, and some of the things that she watches on like YouTube and stuff are like, and I don't get why people like these things. They take other people's content and they talk about other people's content, or reaction video to this other person's content, and they're not actually creating original content on their own. But these kids eat it up, man. I don't understand it.
Yeah, to me, that's stealing. Unless you show it and then you say, okay, well, here's my opinion about that. They'll just sit there and they'll go, ho, 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 and they'll point at the video and like, oh yeah. And these people
what I found
nothing like the
demographic
now of the video. Yeah,
is that
crazy.
You've got reactors reacting to other reactors reacting.
Exactly.
And it's
like
ridiculous.
reactor infinity. It's ridiculous nonsense.
Well, Prophet, here's another thing. I was for a while, I was watching the younger generations coming up, discovering our music, like literally, and then you'll find somebody that's listening to Thriller from the first time. How do you not know Billie Jean? Come on now. That's, or I don't know, another great.
It's because
they're talking about something that probably hasn't been on, for one thing, these kids don't listen to the radio.
Radio doesn't exist to them. They don't even know what that is.
Because they're too busy listening to like Taylor Swift's trash.
Well, the thing is though, like I literally saw a video today, and this guy is a comedian. He's like, he has a kid that's, I guess, what would be Gen Z or Gen Alpha. I don't know which generation's doing whatever now. And he said they'll watch a movie, and while they're watching a movie, they're scrolling on their phone. And he's like, we can change the movie. You want to see something else? And they go, no, I'm watching this, but it's a dull part. And so during the part that they think is dull, they'll just start scrolling on their phone, watching videos on their phone or TikTok or whatever. And he's like, we don't even sit and watch, like, generations coming. They don't even sit to get them to like be in a theater, even if you're at home watching it, like something on Netflix or whatever streaming service. They won't even sit there and watch that program. They'll watch that and be watching something else. There's no way you can be consuming both of these and getting the equal value, because human beings cannot multitask. We cannot.
I'm a little guilty of that myself, as in I will have something on the TV, watching it while I'm editing videos or, this, that, and the other. But
or if I've got to, if I'm doing something,
am I literally watching two things at once? No, I can't do that.
No, my wife will get on me because, like if there's a commercial, and obviously we skip through commercials, but I'll look at something on my phone or or you drop a video, and I'm like, oh crap, Digital Caveman's dropped another video. I got to stop everything, right? And and she's like, are we watching this or not? I was like, yeah, I'm just looking at something on my phone for a second. And she'll get upset with me, and she's right to, because it's like, yeah, it pulls my attention away, and it's hard to sit there and not at least play on my phone or look at something, even if I'm just looking at headlines of videos and not watching it. I'm like, oh, save that for later, or, oh, I know I'm going to like this one. I'll go ahead and thumbs that up, because I know I'm going to watch it.
Yes, thumbs up. Yeah.
I had so many. You can max out at 5,000 videos on YouTube. I found that out years ago, that you put in your watch later.
The watch later list. Yeah, I kind of cleared that one out periodically.
I went back in there. I had videos from 7 years ago in there, and I was like, I think I've watched these, but I knew if they were there, it was like bookmarking them for me. It was another way of bookmarking. And sometimes before I'll even get a video, if it's one of the channels obviously that I follow, I'll go and give it a thumbs up. It's automatic in my mind. And for a while I was just thumbs upping videos. I don't think I've ever probably thumbs down a video unless a video really ticked me off. And then at that point I either unsubscribe or I just don't watch that video. You change it's kind of like changing the channel.
I give thumbs down all the time, man.
Do you? Well, the thing is,
now I know who's leaving all those thumbs down on my videos.
Oh, it's probably.
Oh, look. Here's the thing. This is the sort of thing that I give a thumbs down for. When I'm watching somebody talking about something and they're getting it completely wrong, I'm like, you had the nerve to come on here and make a video without doing any fucking research.
It's the way y'all feel about the toy videos like that, or toy collectors or whatever. I feel that way about when somebody makes a video about some 80s music or something, or, music from the past that I know, because I know music pretty well, at least the popular stuff, generally speaking. And if they'll say something, they might, and I'm nitpicky. I won't thumbs down the video, and I won't really comment, but I probably won't thumbs up that video if they will say something that's statistically incorrect, or if they say it.
Well, I want to clarify because I think Digital like took it a little personal what I said.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
What you do doesn't require research. You are reviewing a figure in your hand.
Right.
What I'm talking about is when someone makes a statement without actually looking at it. Like, all right, there was a reviewer who was reviewing what was it? What was the figure? The Iron Grenadier. And he says, see, this is the problem with G.I. Joe. They use all these fake guns. There's no such thing as a double barrel gun, and I'm like, dude, that's a fucking Gilboa. It's a real gun that the British SAS used.
Really?
Huh. Like, I wouldn't have had a problem with this video if he didn't even mention the gun. But if you're going to mention the gun and get it completely wrong, I have to give you the thumbs down.
I think I mentioned something about that gun. I was like, well, this is a double-barreled machine gun, I guess. I've never seen one like this before. I don't know if this is a real thing, but...
Yeah, but you didn't say that it was 100% not
real. Oh, no.
Well, it's like...
This guy said it was a fictional gun.
Now, I do believe I did
dude, that's a weird statement to make when you didn't even make a Google search.
I do believe I did say... Which that one hasn't come out yet. I did finish editing it, but I hadn't posted that Iron Grenadier yet. But I think I said something like I believe this gun originally in this line came with who was it? Beachhead, the Cobra Island Beachhead. But I don't think that was
the difference there because you said I believe. You didn't make a definitive statement.
Definitive statement, yeah.
This guy had made the definitive statement that it was a fictional gun.
You know what gets me? This is where I get nitpicky on things, especially like with music or movies, or they're quoting some statistic, because I know a lot of like music statistics.
This is the way I look at it. I'm sorry, Ed, but this is the way I look at it. I can't give him a thumbs up because of that mistake, but giving him nothing is worse than giving him a thumbs down, because even a thumbs down is interaction. So I want to give him something for the effort, but I can't give him the thumbs up because he fucked up.
Sure. I mean, and if it's one little thing, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to nitpick because you said Stevie Nick instead of Stevie Nicks. You left the S off. I'm not going to nitpick. I wouldn't give you a thumbs down for that. But
no, usually it has to be an outright false definitive statement for me to
exactly. You'll get a thumbs down from me then. Yeah, if you say Michael Jackson's sister
LaToya?
No, Michael Jackson's sister. I'm trying to think of a fake name.
LaTanya.
I'll just make
Let's call her LaTanya.
Okay. I'll make up a name. LaDonna, let's say.
What was wrong
Michael
with
Jackson's
LaTanya?
sister. LaTanya's fine. So his sister LaTanya. I'll be like, oh, stop the video right now. Flash it up on the screen, edit this video, and put the correct name there. It's it's kind of like the other day, a lady was giving a presentation, and I did something, I guess, with an English background. She said, it's when people leave off, they'll say like do, and they're supposed to say does or are instead of is or whatever.
Well, if I got mad at people for grammar, I'd be mad at everybody.
Yeah, I know. And she's like, oh no, I'll fix that. And she went and fixed it. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I said I do that automatically when I read something, I'll read it out. Sometimes I'll read it out loud. I was like, I wasn't trying to criticize. I just picked up on that. She goes, no, thank you. I should have caught that. And I was like, okay. But if you I'm real protective of like my music facts. If you say Thriller sold 2 million copies when I know it sold like 37 million or whatever, I'm gonna like, oh, you're wrong, mister. You come along and that. But I do like watching the younger generations discovering our music, but only when and I've seen people my age try to jump on that trend and say, "Oh, this is my first time listening to Born in the USA."
That's bull crap.
And I'm like, there's no way you've been alive. You're 40, 30, 40, or 50 years old, and you've not heard Born in the USA.
Unless you were living in a cave in Afghanistan without any satellite.
Right. Or maybe you were Amish.
Yeah, or your parents
religion
said, don't listen. Maybe your Jehovah's Witnesses, you didn't listen to music or something. I don't know.
Like former Amish listens to Jimi Hendrix for the first time. Like I would watch that.
I thought I saw that Bob Marley would have been 70 or 80 like recently. I don't know which one it was.
Are we seriously celebrating people's birthdays when they're not even still alive to have a birthday?
Well, I don't know. They mentioned, it comes up. Just like, what was the one last night you were talking about?
I'm always like, why does that matter?
I said, hey, did you see last week where Sean Connery died?
And I had to look it up. I said,
all over my feed stuff about Sean Connery dying.
And I looked it up. He died on Halloween of 2020.
Yeah.
So it was like, why randomly?
Why are they showing these things now? Because it's not even the anniversary of his death.
I can understand on the anniversary, but yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's dead. But I'll look it up anyway, because I could be wrong. And but yeah, if somebody gets their facts wrong and they come back and they say, oh, I accidentally did this or I misspoke in the last video, then I appreciate the retraction. It's kind of like, journalism. You make a mistake, you get your facts screwed up. Like you said, Prophet, your facts are screwed up. If you come back and make amends for it and say, hey, I screwed up. Sorry about that. I'll do better next time. I'm going to give you a pass on that. But yeah, we got a tumbler.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Not only that, this tumbler now has lights that work because I bought some batteries.
What?
And you activate them with a magnet.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh my gosh,
yes.
How cool.
Where's the other one?
Does it open?
Man. I like it.
Yeah, it opens up too.
Well, you gotta do a side.
Does it fit a 1/12 scale figure in it?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
What was that question, Prophet?
Does it fit a 1/12 scale figure in it?
The Mafex Night Crusader Batman will fit in it, but his cape is a little bit bulky for it.
All right, so it's a little small. So it's not like McFarlane scale.
Oh no, it's 1/12.
Oh good God!
Yeah, I know that one's like bright.
That should be a different color, like an amber filter on there. So it looks like fire.
I would have enjoyed if it had like a flickering effect to it, but it does. Yeah. It has a flame effect that.
Oh, do you put like a little cone on it, like a little cone on the end of it, or something?
No, give me just a minute. I'll show you. Let me get these.
He's playing with his magnets. What happens when you lose it?
No, well, here. I'll give you a great example of a problem that I had with somebody's video, and this was actually a problem that was serious enough that I had to comment on it. So it was one of those Star Wars hate channels, and they were just demanding that they stop making Star Wars movies. And I'm like, look, man, you can stop buying a fucking ticket, but you don't have to tell them to not make the movies at all. There's still an audience for it. There's still people that want to see new Star Wars.
As much as
you coming out here and demanding that they don't make any is nonsense.
Yeah. But as much as the sequel trilogy, everybody hates it supposedly. When you add this film, I think collectively they made like $2 to $3 billion, all together.
Yeah, so but they
still made
less
money
with each film.
They did, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So it's got like, is it white and then it turns kind of yellow?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of bluish up at this end.
Well, I think the blue comes from the reflection on the silver. I think it's meant to be like a white light.
Can you turn it a different angle? Does it look differently with the light? Yeah, I was trying to see what the light looks like. If you turn it, because I'm just wondering if you can't. If to me it looks bright white and then it looks kind of, what is that, yellow? Is that the color?
It's like yellow and orange.
Fire. It's meant to look like fire.
Right. I guess. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then like the cool thing about like on the inside is very, very detailed.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And like the steering column thing there, like the joysticks move independently from side to side. And
does the bike come out of it? Like in the movie?
No, it doesn't like the movie. You can store the bat pod in the model, everything except for the tires. And then this whole column here will slide back and forth.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah, under the bottom here, it does have space. You can put the parts for the bike. You have to pull the bike apart to get it in there, and everything except for the wheels will fit.
Yeah, I sold my animated series Batmobile. The only one that I have left is the 89 Batman Batmobile. My favorite Batmobile.
The McFarlane one?
Yeah.
I
still have the animated series Batwing, though.
I have...
cool.
I've got this one. I've got the Mattel Barris Batmobile. And
I take it back. I do have a 1/12 scale 66 Batmobile as well.
Yeah, that if it's that Mattel one, that one is badass, dude.
That is my favorite Batmobile, the 66, the Adam West.
And I've got
it fits Mezco's in it just fine. So I know it's bigger than the McFarlane one.
Yeah, the McFarlane 89 Batmobile. I've got that one.
Oh, that's the Bat Pod.
And there's the Bat Pod, yeah.
Interesting that it's got silver on it, like on there. I'm surprised that. Why did they put the silver on there like that? Was it because
that's how it was in the movie? It's just because it was so dark.
Oh,
you know.
I mean, it looks cool,
and it's even. I hope the Batman model comes with like the little the energy the EMP gun, because there's a slot right there, a clip for it. At least that's what it looks like to me. That's what it's for.
Huh.
But it was pretty easy to put together. The Bat Pod, I put this together in probably about 3 hours. And the tumbler took about 8 hours to put it together.
Good God.
Wow.
8
and
hours?
that's like cutting the parts out of the sprues and stuff like that, because I want to say the instructions say, cut the parts out as you need them. Don't cut all the parts out at one time or you'll get shit screwed up.
Obviously, you'd have to film that over time, but that would have been awesome.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's like building a Lego. If I review a Lego thing, I'm not going to show where I put that son of a bitch together, because I will f it up every time.
Yeah. I'd have no kind of patience for that building.
Yeah, see, if I were going to do a Lego review, I would stop motion the build.
I've seen a few of those, and they're really cool looking.
That would be awesome.
That's I can't, because inevitably I get in a rush to finish it, and I'll put something in the wrong place and end up having to pull part of it, back apart.
Right.
To fix that, and so people don't want to see that crap.
No.
Yeah, and I'm sure you could. I put together was a Bandai Stormtrooper model kit, and that took about 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's not bad. I did the.
Oh no, I take that back. The last one I did was Storm Shadow's bike.
Oh, those bikes are cool.
Yeah, I put together Storm Shadow's bike. It took about 40 minutes.
I almost picked both of those bikes up, but I was
unfortunately, they're a little bit small for classified.
Yeah, that's what I figured, because classified is just slightly larger.
That's true 1/12 scale.
Then they are true 1/12.
Yeah, they are, and classified's a little bigger than 1/12.
Oh, that's what I was trying to say. Classified is slightly larger than actual 1/12. I think
right.
The closest Hasbro gets.
It's a great bike to like put in the background of like an Arashikage dojo scene or something.
Yeah, I think
you can have Storm Shadow standing next to it or whatever, and it looks fine. But when you put him on it, it's a little small.
I think the closest Hasbro product that gets to actual 1/12 scale is the Black Series.
Yeah, and the Indiana Jones Adventure series was under the same formula as Black Series.
And because I think the same damn teams were working on those, because they're starting to sneak in. You know how the Adventure series had the hands had the pegs on them, and then they peg into the wrist.
Yeah, Nell
We're
and
starting
Cheel
to
and the
see that
Modal
creep
Nodes had
into
hands
Black
like that
Series.
too.
So
yeah, Nell and Cheel and the Modal Nodes had the same hand situation.
And I mean, they don't use it a lot in the Black Series, but it sneaks in from time to time. So that's why I think a lot of those, the same folks were working on both lines.
Right. Well, they probably just have a Lucasfilm division.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, because
like I think a few of the folks on Classified, I think they work on Marvel Legends too. But the only one you ever see, the only one they ever show on the live streams and stuff is Dwight. What's his name? I don't know, but he's worked on that stuff since like Toy Biz. He worked on some of the Toy Biz Marvel Legends. I can't remember his name. It's Dwight something. But then he's on, he's always accompanied by the two marketing guys, Dan Young, something like that. And I can't even remember the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think Star Wars' contract with Hasbro's up this year. I don't know if Hasbro's going to renew that.
I don't know either, because they're not making money on it.
They're not. Yeah.
They're losing money on it, because look at all the shit that's at Ollie's. But they're
they don't give the people the figures they want, and instead give the figures that they want people to want. And it's like, right. I'm sorry, but the Acolyte sucked. I'm not buying any of those figures.
And I don't think I think that has a lot to do with their licensing agreement, that Lucasfilm has some control over, what characters that they do. I think they have some control over that. And it's probably spelled out in the contract. If we have new media coming out, then you automatically have to do a wave of characters from this media. Something like that. And then they probably, they of course get final say on whether they're going to do it or not. Lucasfilm does. They get final approval on everything to do with Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's why I stopped paying attention to the Star Wars live streams. Because it's different with G.I. Joe, because they own that brand. They have some autonomy to listen to fans. And it shows in what they've put out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because look at what they did with the HasLabs. Those were things that people wanted.
Right. Well, look at when the line first started. Like that first wave, like with the exception of Snake Eyes and Destro, that first wave is garbage.
Yeah.
The Duke, the Scarlet, the Roadblock, they're all terrible.
The repaints were a little bit better when when they redecoed it. But that Scarlet, the freckles, and I swear to God, she looks like she's 16 years old. What's a 16-year-old doing fighting Cobra?
Well, I just hated the body on that one. I didn't mind the face sculpt so much. But I'll say this. The retro card line is evidence that they're listening, right? Because not only are we getting old figures in a larger scale with better articulation and accessories, but they also listened to us about the shitty card stock they used on the first wave.
Yeah.
And fixed that problem. So with G.I. Joe, they can listen to the fans. With Star Wars, they can't. They have to listen to Disney. Right.
And I'm, mostly in Transformers, it's the same thing. But I'm sure, when movies are coming out or media is coming out, they probably are contractually obligated to do something based on the media as well.
The Transformers movies are out of Hasbro's own movie division. So they're only answering to themselves. You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes
I think the limitation that they get from Transformers is they're basically adapting Japanese products to an American audience. So what they're working with is whatever Japan makes, and then they try and fit it into the American story. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Yeah, I will agree with that to a certain extent. On the modern lines that they're putting out now, the folks at Hasbro and the folks at Takara Tomy they do work together on stuff. So, there's a little bit of both in there. And like sometimes the Japanese sculptors might work on the stuff. Sometimes the American guys might work on the stuff, and then sometimes they collaborate with each other. So I think that's good.
Right, but there are slightly more limitations for Hasbro on Transformers than there are on G.I. Joe.
Yes, G.I. Joe
is their one line that they have zero limitations on.
And but you're right, and with that line, they do listen to the fans. And I was perfectly happy with the classified Flint until I saw pictures of the retro carded one that's coming out.
Right.
I wasn't going to get that one, but now I'm going to get it.
Dude, because I need him on the shelf next to the retro card Lady J, man. Like, that's like, aside from Destro and the Baroness, Flint and Lady J is like the one G.I. Joe couple that you can count on.
Yeah.
Right? Because Scarlet and Snake Eyes in the comics, sure, but in the cartoon, she was more with Duke than Snake Eyes. So it was like, that wasn't like a real couple. CoverGirl just got flirted with by all the horn dogs on the Joe team.
Oh, and speaking of CoverGirl, oh my
Clutch
God, that
and
retro carded
and all that.
That retro carded CoverGirl looks amazing.
Yeah, but that's not my CoverGirl. I'm going to pick it up.
No, that's the cartoon one.
She's going to be Bomb Strike for me. Because, you watch the first episodes of everyone says the cartoon one was blonde, but I'm like, bro, watch the first season of the cartoon. She's got the short red hair. Or the auburn hair, whatever.
Yeah.
In the Mass Device, they show her driving the Wolverine, and she's got the short auburn hair. In the comic books, her first appearance, short auburn hair. So I'm like, when people say, oh, she's supposed to be blonde, I'm like, based on what?
So, but I do, because in later stuff that that's how they depicted her in the cartoon.
No, and I get that. I
think even like,
understand. Well, it's kind of like, have you guys ever heard of a guy called the Nostalgia Critic?
No,
I don't think so.
He does like movie reviews in like a funny way where he X them out or whatever. Well, he was reviewing the X-Men and he was talking about, that's not my Rogue. I don't understand what's this Rogue here? Like, where's her flight? Where's her super strength? And I'm like, dude, clearly your X-Men starts with the cartoon from the 90s. Because if you read the comic books, you'd understand that the Rogue in that movie is way more accurate to Rogue than what's in that damn comic, the cartoon series.
Yep.
Because Rogue didn't get super strength flight until she almost killed Carol Danvers.
Yes, and that's people think when they think of Rogue, they instantly think of that Jim Lee version of Rogue.
Right, the yellow and green and the flight and the big hair and the southern accent.
And that's easy
when
to
Rogue
do.
Started out as a girl with a pixie cut and green and white that Wolverine wanted to kill because she was with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Yep.
And it's like, exactly man, people tend to like, and that's the kind of shit that irks me when I'm watching a video. I'm like, bro, a fucking Google search would have corrected this problem for you.
Just
don't make
Marvel
a definitive
site
statement and say something's wrong when you're the one that's wrong without even looking it up.
And just because it's wrong to him doesn't mean it's actually wrong. It's like, just because this person says it's a fact doesn't mean that's the actual fact in any generalized way. Yeah. Makes sense. Even though, I will always say my definitive X-Men are the animated series. That, and I was reading the comics, the 90s comics, that's my X-Men. Well, my Wolverine has a yellow suit. Caveman's has the brown suit,
Yeah, the brown suit is my favorite.
Yeah, my Wolverine's got a brown suit too.
Right. And that's never going to change for me. You know,
but Wolverine's first appearance was a yellow suit.
Yeah, it was. But
was it?
Like it didn't have the sweeping mask. It had like these little, black around the eyes,
it
and they
just
just
more emulated
came out
like a
that.
Bobcat look or something like
Yeah,
that. It was
exactly.
because
Right.
he fought
was
the Hulk.
probably
He
closer
fought the Hulk
to a
in his
Wolverine.
Wolverine's first appearance was in a Hulk comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call? Is that a cow? What's like the horns? What do you call that? What are those called?
Well, Deadpool called them blowjob handles.
Jeez. Yes, of course he does. But
you talking about like on his mask? I don't know. I call them wings because it looks like he's about to fly away.
Yeah, because when they're like too oversized, I just think that doesn't look, proportionally correct.
It depends for me. It depends on the artist.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some that draw them like out to here, and sometimes it looks stupid, and sometimes it looks amazing. It just depends on, the rest of what they're doing. But like, there's some that like, God, what was his name? Barry Windsor Smith, that drew the Weapon X storyline that ran in Marvel Comics Presents, that basically gives you the origin of how Wolverine got his adamantium.
Right.
And his 80s hair.
And his 80s hair. And,
I'm going to grab me something to drink. I'll be back.
He draws Wolverine just like this the hairiest dude you've ever seen. I mean, it's it's a ball of hair with arms and legs. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I don't hate his artwork, but I don't go out of my way to read stuff that he draws.
Yeah, well, one of my favorites in terms of like being like abstract in terms of artwork would be Sam Keith.
I like Keith.
He did the Hulk for a while before he did the mask over at or the Max over at Image.
Yeah, Max. I remember that.
I like his style. It's kind of abstract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I will say
another Image artist whose art I think is the absolute worst art ever.
Oh, Liefeld.
Exactly, dude. Every face the guy makes looks like his face.
And nobody has
draw
feet.
Faces looking in the mirror.
Nobody
he
has
can't draw feet. He can't draw backgrounds. He like overswolls every muscle he draws. And why are there a million pouches on every one of his characters?
Well, that was the 90s. Everybody had pouches in the 90s, man.
I never liked Liefeld's art, man. Never.
I never much cared for it either. But, even saying that, I got swept up in the whole Image thing. And so I bought some of like the Youngblood stuff and like that. And then reading through it, I'm like, why the hell am I buying this? Because the story isn't that good. It's very disjointed. I hate the artwork.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. Like when Image came out, I bought Spawn, I bought the Pit, I bought the Max, and for a little while, I bought Savage Dragon.
Yeah. See, I was in the beginning. I was reading all of that stuff, and it was hard to read some of that
the
stuff.
rip off of like the X-Men and Youngblood.
Yeah,
the rip off of the New Mutants and Wildcat. Oh God, dude. Yeah, it was.
And again, all of those stories, except for maybe Savage Dragon. Savage Dragon, I found to be pretty coherent, but they all suffered from scheduling issues except for McFarlane. He was the only one that got a book out on time every single month. The only one.
Right. And now the second most powerful person in Image wasn't even one of the people that founded it. I'm talking about Kirkman.
Kirkman, yeah.
And all because The Walking Dead just killed it.
It did.
But Image got better when they got away from superhero shit and they did more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember a comic called Morning Glories about a boarding school for like kids with superpowers and shit that had like criminal pasts and whatnot. Man, that's a great book, man. Morning Glories. If you ever get a chance to read it, that's pretty awesome.
I'll tell you one I just finished, and I don't know, I may have mentioned it. I probably did mention it last night or whatever. But ROM, I just finished ROM Space Knight. From like it ran. I want to say it ran from 79 through 86.
You're picking that figure up.
Oh hell yes, I'm getting that. Man, that son of a bitch is already.
What is that? ROM? I don't know that.
ROM
Space Knight. He was 80s, wasn't he? Like a cyborg bounty hunter or something?
Yeah, and like in 79, I think Parker Brothers put out the original figure. It had very basic articulation. I think it only had 4 points of articulation, which were at the shoulders and at the hips. That was, the arms moving, the leg moving. I don't even think the head moved.
Yeah, reaction figure articulation, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But there you go. There's ROM. And but the toy, what really set it apart from a lot of the other stuff at the time, it was like a 12-inch figure, which at the time wasn't unheard of. They were still doing 12-inch figures, in especially Kenner doing that Star Wars line. But he had LEDs, like his eyes lit up, and he made sounds. And he had
eyes
different.
Lighting up makes sense why his head didn't turn.
Yeah. And then he had accessories that lit up as well when you put them in his hands. So, I never had a ROM. I always wanted a ROM just from, seeing like in comic books, the ads that they had for ROM. And I remember, when I was littler, reading some of the comics, but it wasn't like I read them constantly. It was a thing here and there. But for a licensed property, that comic, there you go.
Yeah.
But that comic was super tied into the rest of the Marvel comics.
Look at this. A rare Superpowers Batcopter, $1,250 pre-owned.
Yeah, forget that. I'll just get the McFarlane one.
Oh my God! Look how expensive the Marion is.
Yeah.
The what? Oh,
wow! But I had that figure as a kid.
I still have my original. It's not in the card though.
Yeah, I had the Well of Souls playset. And,
oh yes, I love that thing, and
oh my gosh, I may have had
probably a bunch of snakes.
I don't think I had this, but I may have had a version of this Spider-Man.
The Mego stuff.
1,500. I don't know. I probably
look. If you grew up in the 70s, you had at least one Mego.
I did grow up in the 70s. I was born in the 70s, so yeah. It looks familiar.
70s.
Yeah, I know. But here's ROM. This is on. Apparently, this is eBay.
Yeah. See, it's. The articulation on it is very limited, but what set that one apart is all the lights and sounds and.
There you go.
But unfortunately, it was a failed line. ROM was the only figure they made in the line, and where the character really survived was in Marvel Comics. And I want to say it was Bill Mantlo was the writer for the majority of it. I want to say I know it was at the end. Bill Mantlo. Steve Ditko did a lot of the artwork, especially toward the end of the run. And it only ran for 75 issues. That's one of the only
Ninja Turtles figures I've ever bought. I have that Steve Ditko figure they made.
I didn't even know there was one. Look at that. He ran off a 9-volt battery. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the 9-volt. Where's the 9-volt? That's one of the...
Yeah, right there. Yeah. You don't hardly see anything running off of 9 volts anymore.
That's true. Damn, $800 for that.
Yeah, and it's not even complete. Oh, wait a minute. Go back down to where like it should. Okay, it is complete.
Oops, sorry. Those.
Yeah, because he came with 3 accessories.
Now, when you look at this one, okay, when I look at this one. At the top of that helmet part or whatever. Oops, I can't. You know what I'm saying?
That's his jetpack.
That's a jet. Oh, because I thought it kind of looked like a Cylon Centurion because it had the ridges, but it's not. I'm just seeing what I want to see. Oh, here's some of the comics. pretty good. So what was his overall? I mean, he's a robot or
Okay,
something.
the overarching story of Rom Space Knight was they lived on a planet called Galador, which was in the Golden Galaxy, is what it was called, and they had a neighboring galaxy that was the Dark Galaxy, and the evil beings that lived there were dire wraiths who used technology in addition to sorcery.
Oh wow.
And they were shape changers, and they could, like, their tongues had these little barbs on them. They could bore into your head, suck out all the information. Then your body is withered up, and they can change shape into anybody who they have absorbed that way. And you see that especially in X-Men. The dire race actually at one point in the X-Men comics go to, I want to say it was Houston. Is that where Forge was based, Prophet? Where his skyscraper was based?
I don't remember.
But it was somewhere in Texas. I want to say it was Houston. So they go to his building in Houston and actually attack him. And the X-Men fend them off. And so, but it's very tied into the main Marvel comics. He makes guest appearances and stuff.
There's no animated with him in it?
No. And if Hasbro was smart about stuff, that is a property that they would try to get out there to get a movie made of, because it could be like a sci-fi horror type thing, kind of in the vein of Aliens,
Where they do the
sci-fi horror.
Kind of sounds like the Borg, how they assimilate in a way.
Well, they're not really assimilating. They're killing people and taking their identities. Their identity.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
they're like body snatchers.
Yeah, pretty much. Except they turn their own bodies into whatever. So anyway, the dire race decide that they're going to attack and take over the Golden Galaxy. So they do. And Galador is a peaceful planet. There's no warriors or anything like that. They're very technologically advanced, but they concentrate on the arts and, that kind of stuff. Basically what you would think of in the 80s as an idyllic place. So in order to combat the dire race, they ask their youth to give up their humanity and be put in these cybernetic suits. So the Space Knights are cyborgs, but they don't have like all of the organic parts. The bodies, the main, parts of the body, are stored on Galador and kept safe for when the war's over. So the Space Knights go out, and they all have different powers. Rom, of course, is the greatest of the Space Knights. And so they're fighting the war. They defeat the dire wraiths and drive them back into the Dark Galaxy, all the way back to Wraith World, which is their home world. So Rom goes there on his own, pursuing some that tried to get away from him. And he ends up running whatever's left of the race. They leave their planet and disperse throughout the galaxy. So for the next 200 years, Rom and the rest of the Space Knights are out hunting down these dire wraiths to defend worlds against their evil. And at one point, 200 years after that is when Rom arrives on Earth and discovers the presence of wraiths, dire wraiths. And that's basically where the story picks up.
So I shared a screen there, if you don't mind, Ed.
Sure. Let's see, Prophet and stage.
That's the Ditko figure.
Oh, okay. All right, I know which one you're talking about now.
Yeah, he's a pretty good looking figure.
They did oh Lord, they did a Kirby figure similar to that too, didn't they?
Oh, this is Kirby, not Ditko. I'm sorry, this is Kirby.
I thought it looked like Kirby.
Yeah.
Especially with the stogie there.
Well, and if you, I don't know if you can tell, but the stogie is a the end of an incense stick, and it's actually lit.
Nice. Yeah, I think I see it like there's a little bit of smoke there under it, maybe.
Yeah, it's coming off a little bit. You can see the cloudiness here. Yeah,
Man,
sorry, I don't know why I was said Ditko. It's Kirby. This is Kirby.
I wish they would make a Kirby Marvel Legends figure to go with that Stan Lee figure.
Yeah, me
then
too.
You can make them fight.
But you know what I'm going to wind up doing? I'm going to wind up dry brushing over
all the animation looking,
all the animation cell lines, and fixing the eyes and putting like a gloss coat over the eyes to give them that real look.
Yeah.
You know, because all I have to do is dry brush a little flesh tone over this.
Yeah.
Get rid of all this crap. Because it's a good sculpt. And then dry brush some green over the lines here. Dry brush a little blue over
definitely
the
leave the hairy arms.
Oh, I'll leave the hairy arms. They could stay. But yeah, I think a little dry brushing will bring this into a real enough realm to put it with my Stan Lee.
Yeah, but Ditko was he was the co-creator of Spider-Man. He was a little weird as far as the things that he wanted to work on. He didn't particularly like working on superhero stuff, but did because that's what people were buying. So that's what publishers were wanted created. But he was very
that's
particular.
Embarrassing getting Kirby mixed up for Ditko, man. I'm glad I'm the only one watching. Like literally on YouTube, it says one person watching, and that's actually me.
And they sold, or Stan Lee sold Ditko on doing Spider-Man. Number one, because Kirby was so busy drawing the rest of the Marvel universe, that him being a teenager with everyday problems and stuff like that. That's what sold Ditko on wanting to work on Spider-Man and be the co-creator, which he hasn't, or I don't know is he still alive? I don't know if Ditko's still alive or not. He might be. He told Stan Lee, "You will give me in writing that I am the co-creator of this character." And Stan Lee did it. So Ditko didn't get shafted kind of like Bill Finger did with Batman.
Right.
Which,
But you know what? At the same time,
for it now, but
at the same time, though, I and this is gonna sound very corporate of me, I guess, but if you're working for a company and they contract you to create a character for a book, and you do it on their dime, on their time, I'm sorry, but it's their character.
I agree with you 100% on that. But they didn't really have a lot of opportunity to create their own and stuff and get it published, without going to one of the publishers at the time. Which,
well, true enough, but you got to be smart like Ditko and get it in writing.
And I think there were three.
For a fact, like for example, like any characters, like I think Venom was a McFarlane creation, right? Initially,
McFarlane and God, who was it? The guy who was writing the book at that time.
Right.
I cannot think of his name, but yeah.
Now, and ironically, Venom's first appearance is like years later or years earlier in Secret Wars, but we didn't know he was Venom yet. But the point I'm trying to make is McFarlane has no rights to Venom other than getting verbal credit for being one of the guys who made him up.
The accolades for it. Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, he was under contract with Marvel to make a new villain, and he did what he was paid to do. Right? Like if you like, let's say you design furniture, right? And you sell your design to a furniture company, they manufacture it. You can't now go into everybody's house and sit on their couch just because you're the one that designed it. You know what I mean? Like, you were paid for that.
Right.
And that's where, like, you know, a lot of these like privileged youngsters in Hollywood like irritate me. It's like, bro, you were on the job, you did the job you were paid for. Now you the job is done. Why are you still trying to get more out of this? Like, that was not part of your contract.
Yep, that's right. But I also see the side of stuff where, like, you know, with Scarlett Johansson and the Black Widow movie,
they did her wrong. Yeah.
They breached her contract.
Right.
Yes, when they decided to release it on Disney Plus and not do a big push for, you know, the limited theatrical release,
she didn't even get the opportunity to negotiate.
And wasn't it Chapek that was he was over at the time, the studio, and he put it out there in the public, and that's something that Iger would have never done. So,
well, the difference between Iger and Chapek is that Iger is more like a politician.
Right.
Chapek was simply a money man. That's all he knew. That's all he knew. He didn't know how to run an entire business. He knew how to run the money portion of a business.
And Kathleen Kennedy is a destroyer of worlds.
Yes.
I think in the MCU, she's one of the Celestials.
Yes. She's KK the Destroyer.
She's growing inside the planet Lucas and Spielberg built.
Yeah.
Eventually, she'll explode and just kill the whole population.
That's terrible.
What do you think? Do you think there's a chance they will ever do a HasLab Celestial, like on the you know, in the size of Galactus?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think there would be enough interest in it, especially as bad as the Eternals movie did.
I'm glad you said as bad as it did and not as bad as it was, because I liked it. I thought it was a great movie.
I thought it was good, but overall,
honestly, it was okay. Like, I didn't totally care for the origin that they did for the Eternals, making them androids or whatever.
Right. I didn't understand.
You know, I didn't particularly care for that. And it's not that I'm a huge Eternals comics fan. You know, I'm aware of them. I've read them when they, you know, had appearances in Fantastic Four, Avengers, or, you know, what have you, throughout what I was reading in the Marvel Universe. So, you know, I was aware of them, but not to the point that, you know, I was 100% invested in every single character that, you know, I would say out of all of them, the one I was probably the most vested in was Cersei, but that's only because she was on the Avengers. You know, she was in the Avengers for a while.
Well, she was in Cersei. Oh, Cersei was an Eternal on the Avengers. You're right. Yeah, but you know,
like this is the thing, though,
right? Because, you know, we could sit here and say, you know, I'm upset that they were just androids, but at the end of the day, we're taking that word android and putting our human definition on it. When at the end of the day, they were created by the Celestials, and they're far more advanced than humans are. You know what I mean?
You know, even in the comics, that's basically true, except for the part where they're androids or what have you. You know, they were.
But all I'm saying is the whole designating them as androids is semantics, because they're not androids based on any human equivalent of an android.
No.
You know, it's an android that breathes and bleeds and eats. You know what I mean? It's like, we're only calling it an android because of its mode of fabrication, not because, you know, because they're made, not born. Right.
Well,
but at the end of the day, they're more advanced than a born human being.
even in the comics, it's similar to that. The Celestials, the first host, comes to Earth, and they set biological processes in motion, and while they're waiting for that to happen, they're messing around with stuff genetically, because that's what they do, and they create the the Eternals' enemy, the
Deviants.
The Deviants, yeah. So they create the Deviants. The Deviants want to destroy everything that the Celestials are creating. So they create the Eternals to fight, who are the exact opposite of the Deviants. The Deviants, they're mutated looking, they're ugly, and
well, in the comics, the Deviants look mostly human. They just have like purple skin and shit.
And there's some that are more monstrous looking than others, I suppose. But then you have the Eternals. They all have superpowers, and they all look perfect. And so, I mean, I can understand them going the direction they did, in the movie. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time letting go of the comics, because that's what I'm familiar with.
Right. Well, but there's a difference for me in doing your own interpretation of a story that I think is acceptable, and altering the story altogether, which I think is unacceptable, right? Because here's the thing, like with the Eternals, it had enough of the original source material in it to satisfy me, and they made an entertaining movie that I enjoyed. Whereas with G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, they completely butchered the source material.
Yes, they did.
And the two things they needed to get right, they got wrong.
Well, that reminds me, that makes me think of, there's a new Mortal Kombat movie coming. I like the last one.
Carl Urban is Johnny Cage. Carl Urban or Urban, however you say his damn name,
Carl
Urban for the role at this point.
He is. I'd say
he might be, but there he is. He's going to be in the movie.
I like Carl Urban. I think he played Judge Dredd way better than Stallone did.
Oh yeah. Well,
I like that Judge Dredd. Yeah.
That's two different versions of Judge Dredd as well,
Yeah, well, Carl Urban gave us a serious, gritty future crime movie, with like a war against drug dealers in it. Whereas Stallone, I mean, it had Rob Schneider in it. That says enough right there, what they were going for with the Stallone.
Well, I think with the Stallone movie, they did what they were doing in the comics at the time, and maybe a little sillier perhaps than what they were doing in the comics. And then with the Carl Urban film, I think that's more of a depiction of what they were doing in the comics at that time. But I don't know. I'm not a huge Judge Dredd fan. I don't, I'm passingly familiar with the character, but I don't read the stuff.
We were talking about this earlier. We were talking about the '89 Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, if you look at Batman prior to that, it was like, what was the most recent Batman outside of that movie? It was
Adam West.
Right? No, I'm talking like on television. We had the Super Friends, right?
Yeah, the Super Friends.
And Batman and Robin were making appearances.
That's still Adam West
and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it was not a character to be taken seriously by adults.
Right.
And Tim Burton changed that fundamentally forever.
I think that also goes back to, in the comics, in the 50s and 60s, Batman became a pretty silly character.
Really silly.
And, they played off of that with the 66 Batman show. And so for a lot of people, that was what they knew Batman to be. Then the 70s come along, and in the comics, you know, Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams come in and they kind of bring Batman back to his roots. They make him a detective again. He's not silly. He's taken on more serious storylines. And like I said, you know, they bring him back to his detective roots. While in the 70s and the 80s on television, it's, you know, Super Friends, Challenges of Super Friends, the Superpowers show. Bye, Ed.
I'm sure he'll be back.
Oh, he will. He hit the wrong button, probably.
See, for me in the comic books where Batman made his turn, and I think it was because of the fan vote that the turn happened. They realized that their fans were older and starting to crave more gritty storytelling, right? Because if you remember, they all hated Jason Todd as Robin. Well, or not Jason Todd.
Yeah, Jason Todd.
Yeah, Jason Todd. And they had the fans vote on whether or not to kill Robin off.
Yeah, you had to call that 900 number.
Right. And the fans voted so overwhelmingly for his death that they realized that a shift had happened in their readership.
Well, I mean,
and after that, you get stories like Nightfall and fucking, you know what I mean?
But
like
even before that,
Killing Joke.
When you go back to, you know, and this is the thing I was getting to, you know, about what was it, 86, The Dark Knight Returns come out, and Frank Miller takes Batman back to that gritty, you know, crime fighting. He's a detective, but he's willing to beat the shit out of everybody, even Superman.
Right. But Frank Miller didn't do it in the main DC universe.
No. But
you know, that was kind of like an Elseworlds thing.
By doing that story and how overwhelmingly popular and how much sales that book did, even today it still sells.
Right.
You know,
right.
It showed that the audience was ready for that dark of a story with Batman. And then it goes on to, like you were talking about, Jason Todd and The Killing Joke. And, you know, especially in The Killing Joke, where Barbara Gordon gets paralyzed when the Joker shoots her in the spine.
Right. And that had long-term effects in the comics. She was in a wheelchair as Oracle for like over a decade.
For a couple of decades. I mean, up until the New 52. She was in that
on the Marvel side of it. On the Marvel side of it, I pin the growth spurt on one particular X-Men story that happened in the late 70s. It was an X-Men story called God Loves, Man Kills.
Oh, yes. That was actually that was one of the graphic novels, wasn't it?
It was. But the way it opens up with those cops having murdered those two mutant children and hanging them up in the swings, and then Magneto uses the chains to kill those two cops, like, and it was all there in the panels. It wasn't you know. Oh,
yeah, there was no
story that was.
There was no alluding to Magneto did this or that the cops did this. It was
right. You saw it. You saw it. Yeah, it was fantastic, man. But that was like, you know, where they made a change, like, because, you know, if you remember when the X-Men started, you know, back when Iceman was a snowball wearing boots.
Oh yeah, the Stan Lee years.
You know, the dialogue was like, "Gee Willikers, Professor." You know, it's like, oh my God, what am I reading?
Yeah, well, you know,
because I got started at the very first comic book I ever bought. I bought it off a comic book rack in a 7-Eleven when I was like, I think I pointed at it when I was like 4 years old or something like that. And it was Giant Size X-Men #1. So that was the very first comic book I ever got. So that was my original X-Men. You know what I mean?
Well,
and I didn't even really know much about the old X-Men until X Factor came out in the early 80s. You know, and then I went back to read the old stuff that my Uncle Pete had.
Yeah, I couldn't. I tried to start reading X-Men at #1. And I just couldn't do it. So I skipped around a little bit and tried to read like the important stuff, like the first appearance of the Sentinels, you know, that kind of stuff. But basically, where I really picked it up, I started, I think, at issue 100, and read it on through that up until maybe 2001 stuff, where it really started getting shitty.
See, but I think the crossovers like really began with Secret Wars. But for the X-Men, I think Days of Future Past was like, that opened the floodgates, because after that, there was a massive crossover every year.
Oh, yeah.
You had Inferno, you had the Marauders, you had the,
And I love to read
the
Inferno.
Four Horsemen story. Do you remember the Four Horsemen? When
the Horsemen of Apocalypse, Follow the Mutants.
Right,
which was
right.
A crossover in name only, because nothing crossed over to anything else. The New Mutants had their 3-issue arc. The X-Men had their 3-issue arc, and X Factor had their 3-issue arc.
Well, I meant X crossover. It crossed into all the X books.
Well, yeah, like those characters eventually did, but
but you know what? Like, and here's a crazy thing, man. One of my favorite X-Men books ever, like, didn't have any action in it. It was just the X-Men playing softball with the New Mutants.
Yes,
it was just like a downtime issue, and I'm like, oh my god, finally they get a break.
I always thought that about the X-Men. I was like, because when I was reading them in the 90s and 2000s, I was like, every week it's something happening. It's every issue something's happening. It was like, yeah, they just need like a chill episode, like when Scott and Jean got married. I think they finally let them get married in the comics.
Well, no.
Yeah, no.
That was not Jean. That was Jean's clone made by Mr.
You're
Sinister.
right.
No. He's not talking about Madeline. He's talking about later, when they actually did get married in the 90s.
Right.
That was 90s though, because the 80s cover where it's like Scott with the redhead in the wedding dress. That's Madeline.
Right.
Who becomes the evil Goblin Queen in Inferno?
Which honestly should be fucking really insulting to Jean if you think about it, because it proves that Scott's only into her for her looks.
Scott's kind of shallow after all, right?
Yeah.
Right? Well, Wolverine was totally into her for who she was. Wolverine couldn't be seduced by Madeline Pryor.
Yeah, she always, like, I think in one of the issues he said something about her smells off or something.
Right.
Like, how rude.
And I think that was during the time, like when they were after Fall of the Mutants and they went through the Siege Perilous, and then they ended up in the Australian outback, and they took that town away from the Reavers, and Madeline was with them, and it was a whole thing between her and Havoc, and then it's like Rogue and Dazzler were fighting over Longshot. And then you had the Aborigine dude with the
Gateway.
Gateway, yeah.
Fucking love Gateway.
He swings this thing around and opens portals to wherever.
Yeah,
I think that was a very important character for that era of the X-Men, because otherwise, how the hell were they going to get anywhere?
Yeah,
everybody
that
thought
was
they were dead. They didn't have a jet. That was the
best era for the X-Men, in my opinion, were the late 70s, early 80s. Like all the way up to like 87, maybe even.
You get some of the best storylines during that time. You got Days of Future Past. You got the Phoenix Saga, the Dark Phoenix Saga. You get introduced to the Hellfire Club. Then you get like the big crossover events, like the Mutant Massacre, which I love. I think that is one of the best crossover events Marvel ever did.
It was the most shocking for sure, but my favorite was Inferno.
Oh, I love to read Inferno too. But as an adult, you go back, there's certain parts of it that are just silly as all get out, especially if you go and you read some of the outline books like Exterminators and some of that stuff. But what I liked about Mutant Massacre is, well, I guess in Inferno too, it had a wider effect than just the X-Men books. Because in Mutant Massacre, you had Power Pack, you had Thor, I don't think the Avengers, other than Thor, got involved in that. But then in Inferno, you had Avengers were involved in that. Spider-Man was involved in that. They even brought Excalibur across the pond to be a part of it. And that's where you learn that Captain Britain's powers get weak when he gets away from England.
Right.
Really? I didn't know that. Why is that? I didn't know.
Because
his powers are magic. His powers are not.
In recent years, they've established that his powers originate from Camelot.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, Merlin, like even when he wore the red suit with the blue highlights and the line on it, I want to say he was in a car accident of some kind, and then Merlin appears and gives him the choice, hey, you can die or I'll let you live and you become the champion of, England.
Right, and he was offered that because he was the descendant of the Pendragon family line.
Yes. And God, he was such an asshole, though. He was a drunk asshole.
I did enjoy Excalibur, though. I enjoyed Nightcrawler.
That was probably
Kitty was always one of my favorites.
Yes, and Nightcrawler, both being on that team, and
let's not forget Scott and Jean's daughter, Rachel.
Rachel, yeah, no, not was it Jean's? Was she Jean's?
No, you're right. That's Madeline. That's Scott and Madeline.
No, I don't think it's Madeline's either. It may be Jean's because she comes from an alternate future, like the Days of Future Past future.
Scott and Jean's the only one that comes from the actual future is Nathan.
Right.
Oh, and Hope. But Nathan basically takes his little sister away as a baby to raise her.
Yeah. Nathan actually is, a baby in the modern time. They sent him to the future because of the techno-organic virus.
Yeah.
And then you get that whole mess with Strife and Apocalypse and
right. And then when baby Hope gets in trouble, Nathan comes back from the future and brings her with him to protect her from some fucking whatever.
It's crazy shit, yeah.
And then
that was back during the time. That was back during the time when Nightcrawler was a priest, he was a Catholic priest.
Yeah.
That's that was during the time when they really brought out that religious portion of him. And in fact, I remember reading, and these guys, they were so bad. It's like there was this mutant hating group that wanted to make Nightcrawler the Pope. And I don't remember what the end goal for that was, but I just remember thinking, that just doesn't make any damn sense.
And the X-Men always had the most political villains, too. Because they had Trask, who, worked for the government.
Trask and Gyrick.
Yeah.
But of course, Gyrick was all over the damn place. He was at one point, he was in charge of the Avengers at one point because he was like this superpower liaison to the government or something. Which, what's her name? The chick, the blonde chick from the X Factor after Havoc took it over.
Speaking of,
what was her name? Cooper, Dr. Cooper.
Speaking of
Valerie Cooper,
bad guys leading good guy teams. One of my favorite arcs in the comics overall for Marvel was the Dark Empire crossover.
Oh,
where you had the Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn had been given control of Stark Industries and Shield,
and he turned it into Hammer. And I remember he turned to his assistant and says, I want to call this Hammer. And she was like, well, what does that stand for? He says, I don't know. I don't care. Make up an acronym. Make it make sense.
Wow.
But it's going to be Hammer. So, but yeah, and how that whole story arc ended with the invasion of Asgard, which is floating over
right, because there was
the
so
town
many
in
things, like
Oregon
Ohio
or
or
something.
something. Yeah,
Yeah. It was like in the middle of friggin' nowhere,
it was in the Midwest. That's all that really matters, right?
and
But
it was just
what
floating
was
over
great
this
was
town.
there was so many other stories that had been going on in their individual books that culminated into that, because
Yes.
you remember Ragnarok had happened, and like Thor was
Yeah,
just gathering
yeah,
up all his
and
Asgardians and shit.
right.
And Loki was in Sif's body, and Sif was
Yes.
dying of cancer in an old woman,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
basically
'cause
all the other books had things that were going on at the same time.
yes. Well,
And
that's
they
when
all
everything
culminated in that battle over Asgard, where
and
Sentry rips Ares in half.
if I'm not mistaken, that was the era when Bendis was writing everything.
Yeah, Bendis was all over Marvel.
I
at
mean,
that
he
point.
was writing everything.
Yeah, because it was like 2000s, right? I believe it was 2000s.
It was like, I want to say it was maybe like 2010. I want to say when
right
all that
around
was
there,
going
right
on.
around there for sure.
And but yeah, you're right. That was an amazing, and I never saw that Osborn's Endgame was an invasion of Asgard until it
Because
was
the Secret
happening.
Invasion had also just ended.
Yeah, Secret Invasion
that was what
is
led Osborn to getting the power, because of Secret Invasion they had deemed Stark incompetent and taken it away from him.
yeah, because at that point Stark was in charge of Shield because Fury had disappeared yet again, and I want to say he disappeared like during Civil War. Because that was, Civil War, and then they had the Bucky Cap that Stark, called him in and said, "I want you to be Captain America."
Yeah, wasn't Fury up on the moon with the Watcher at that point?
Maybe he was. I don't remember. All I remember is that he wasn't there.
They don't reveal that until Bucky kills the Watcher for his eyes. And that was in, what was it, Original Sin or something like that? But they were basically they had used the Watcher's eyes as like truth bombs.
Yeah.
And for example, they wanted to start a fight between Iron Man and the Hulk. So they showed Banner some crooked shit Stark did to him back in the day. And he hulked out and fought Iron Man,
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say, I feel like, when Bendis was writing everything, and I'm sure there were a few other writers, like I think Straczynski was writing the Thor books at the time. J. Michael Straczynski.
I mean, at the end of the day, what they need to do is, what they need to have a successful shared universe is they need a Kevin Feige at the head of it.
Well, he is the head of it.
Right? Well, but I'm saying it for the comics.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's the president
for all
of
comics. Like Image, if Image is going to have a shared universe, they need somebody who's at DC, because DC's got so many different books going on that fundamentally can't coexist in the same universe because of continuity issues.
I like what in the 90s, like the Superman and the Batman writing teams used to do. So it's, you had 4 Superman books going on, concurrently. And then you had, like, I want to say there was 5 by the time Nightfall comes around. There were 5 Batman titles. Might only been 4. I think there were 5. And like over in the Superman writers, even though each title was written by a different guy, they would have this retreat every year and they'd plan out the year's worth of stories.
Right.
And including the crossover. And the thing that I liked about the Superman books is, even though they were different titles written by different people, it had a numbering system for each year's books. So you would have, like, they had like the triangle on there that said, at the top of it, it says the year, and then it has the number of which part of the story it is. Right. And they would run concurrently from title to title. The story would carry on through that. Now, they didn't do that over in the Batman books, except for when they were doing, the big event. And I think it would have worked better had they done it like the Superman team did. But they had that same retreat and planned out Nightfall and the origin of Bane and all of that.
See, DC, when they tried to do what Marvel did, they fucked everything up. Because you can't ignore everything that came before it in order to create something new. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
What they did with the New 52 was moronic. Like, how do you throw away almost 100 years of comic books?
I think that was all due to, at that time, that's when they brought Jim Lee on as the co-president. And I think his idea was, let's reinvent the entire universe to be modern. And they, nobody said no. So that's what they did. And you're right. It was very moronic because they threw away, I won't say 100 years worth of comics story, but at least everything from Crisis on Infinite Earths up to the New 52.
Right.
Because, Crisis did away with all that. This story is a dream. And, it did away with all that. It wiped everything clean. And I think the DC universe was better for it at that time because they didn't have all of those crazy stories weighing them down.
Right. And had they all gotten on the same page at that point, then the New 52 would have never been necessary. Not that it was necessary in the first place, but
no, it was completely unnecessary. And some characters it affected a lot more than others. Like Batman was pretty much it did affect Batman, at least the modern part of Batman. Like in Detective, they went back and it was like supposed to be older stories. So, it affected the continuity in that way. But like as far as they didn't do away with like Damian and the stuff that had been happening in the comics at that point. It just kind of carried on just with more modern looking artwork.
See, but then you get like the Superman crossover. I thought it was amazing. But honestly, I probably would have been a lot more critical of it if I'd known it was leading to the New 52.
Yeah.
And then they totally dropped the fucking ball. They had inadvertently, accidentally, like made this great possibility in their stories and then just didn't go with it. It was like, why would you do this? Because they had established in the Sinestro Cold Wars and the Blackest Night and Brightest Day and all that, they had shown like that Kronos had witnessed the beginning of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows these giant blue hands making the universe. And at the end of Watchmen, he says, I think I'm going to go and make my own universe. Right? Manhattan when he leaves. And here we are. You're crossing the fucking Watchmen over into the main DC universe. And you don't use that?
Well, that thing kind of pays off later. But not in the New 52 because they end the New 52 and then it goes into Rebirth.
Yeah, Rebirth. That's
what I'm talking about. That's where it pays off, where they show that Dr. Manhattan was the one who basically caused the New 52 to happen.
Yeah,
it wasn't all Gary's fault.
But they should have just said he created that universe outright.
And and then it's like, they bring back the original, well, at least the post-crisis, they bring back post-crisis Superman in Rebirth. Well, actually, toward the end of New 52, they bring him back.
Well, they bring a couple different Supermans back.
And because the New 52 Superman has cancer or some shit and loses all his powers and dies. And then so the post-crisis Superman kind of takes over, but he was stuck in a pocket universe with Lois, and they had a son in that universe, and I think that carries over into Rebirth.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But that reminds me
he's like
that takes me
reluctant
back
to come back
to
at first. He doesn't even want to come back. He's happy in his
he's happy in his own little universe, and that him being in that pocket universe or pocket dimension or whatever it was, it reminds me. It takes me back to when I guess it was maybe the early 2000s or maybe it was around the 2010s or whatever. Every year DC would have some kind of crisis crossover, like Identity Crisis, and then it leads up to this thing where Earth 1 Superman and Lois are in a pocket dimension with Alexander Luthor, who was the heroic version of Lex Luthor, and Superboy Prime. They were all in this pocket dimension together, and somehow Superboy Prime gets loose out of there, and he's like a lunatic.
Yeah, because he's like a huge part of the Sinestro Corps War and all that. But what I'm saying about Dr. Manhattan being a missed opportunity, I view it as the same way I review Rise of Skywalker's missed opportunity. So they have Ben, he's defeated on the wrecked Death Star or whatever out on the water, right? And they have Harrison Ford show up to talk to him. And he's like, I'm a memory. It's stupid. When what they should have done was, because they had established in the last movie that force projecting yourself across the universe is very taxing and can kill you. Right. So why didn't they make that the reason that Leia died? She force projected herself to Ben to bring him back to the light, and that's what killed her. That would have made so much more sense.
It would have.
Than her doing the Mary Poppins.
Yeah, that was in Last Jedi. That was in, she did Mary Poppins.
That should have killed her. I'm sorry, that just didn't work for me.
Oh
she
my
just
God!
Died for no fucking reason.
Admiral Holdo, God, that has got to be like the worst Star Wars character ever. Now I understand following the chain of command. But when it gets to the point that you're not giving enough information about what you're going to do, that your main heroes of your resistance are rebelling against you, don't you think it's time to just say, okay, Poe, let me pull you aside here for a second. This is what's going on.
Well, I hate to defend The Last Jedi, but I will defend it in this one tiny aspect. If you look at it from Holdo's perspective, all she knows about Poe Dameron at that point is that he's an ace pilot, but he's a hothead who just got demoted for disobeying orders.
But then she turns around on her whole character and says to Leia, "Oh, but he is cute." And I'm like, really? You just totally undermined your own authority. You're like, oh, I'm like, really? And that's, I don't know. I didn't like that.
Yeah, there were a lot of bad decisions, but I'm just the only thing I defend about that movie is that Holdo probably wouldn't have shared the plan with Poe at that point.
And I do understand that, but when it gets to the point that people are taking over your damn ship because you're not sharing enough information with them, it just seems a little asinine on her part. That
and she didn't have to be such a bitch.
She couldn't come out and just say, "Hey, Poe, I know you don't really know me. I have a plan. Please trust me. I know what I'm doing.
Right.
You might not like it, but
right." Laura Dern probably delivered those lines like mellow at first, and Kathleen Kennedy's like, "No, we need to show girl power. Be more of a bitch.
The Force is female."
Yeah, and you're not going to be subservient to a man in that sense, by hey, give me a chance, it's
by
like
actually having a conversation with the man.
By having a conversation with him. Yeah.
That whole part of the movie could have been avoided if she'd have just had a very simple conversation with the man.
Yeah. Or just announce
I
to
was
everybody.
watching earlier today while I was cooking my food. I was watching a little TV, because I like to flip through the channels while I'm waiting for something to cook, And Hotel Transylvania 4 was on. And I'm like, wow, this is actually a great explanation for why the sissification of men in America is going on. Right? Because what happens? Drac and Johnny have a disagreement, and they wind up getting swapped with their, Johnny becomes a monster and Drac becomes a human, and all these problems ensue, and the men lose their shit and don't know what to do, and then Drac's new wife and his daughter are the ones that have to solve everything and fix things for them, and they're the only ones that keep their cool through it all. And it's like, wow, you're just telling men that they're helpless on their own.
Wow.
Hey, no more crotch shots, dude. Turn the crotch cam off.
Oh, I dropped my camera and it's
moving.
I
wasn't paying attention.
Come on, camera. I have to do a hand signal or something. Just to hold your palm, and then, but I've been able to force it. Like, let's see, hold your palm.
Use the force.
Hello,
use the
it's
force,
gotta find
not
me.
the Ryan Johnson force.
Okay, I have to do this.
That camera's subverting your expectations.
It is. I'm just gonna manually move it. Let's see. And if I put my hand in front of the green thing, then it moves. Okay, there we go. Dude, I'm going to have to go. My eyes are killing me, man. This pollen. Oh, man.
You need to go to Walmart and use the eye wash station, dude.
I would. No.
I can't tell you if they still work or not because I don't check that shit anymore.
You don't need
that.
Me either. What the problem is there's something under your eyelids. Just take an X-Acto knife and go under there and scrape it off.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
you got some Visine. Put some Visine in there, dude.
Yeah, I got plenty of Visine. I've put so much Visine.
Hey, another thing you could do that'd probably help with the swelling if it's from allergies.
Yeah, it's definitely allergies.
Take a clean rag, right? Run it under the cold water, wring it most of the way out, and then just leave it over your eyes. As you lay down on your back, leave the moist towel over your eyes. While you fall asleep.
Or you could take Crocodile Dundee's advice and dump all your cocaine into some hot water and stick your face over the bowl with a towel over your head. That'll fix you right up, man.
What, like shoving a blowfly up your nose?
Crikey. Oh, Lord.
Hey, no, I don't think he ever said that. That was all Steve Irwin, man.
That was Steve Irwin, yeah.
Crikey, look at that crook over there. Isn't she a beaut? Just
Hey,
over there minding her own business.
This is a knife.
I'm going to go over there and stick me thumb up a bum and piss her off.
Right. I bought a Steve Irwin figure just to do a Croc-Master
Dude,
review.
I've got him over here in my drawer, but I don't have like the one in the khaki.
I've got the one with the jacket.
I've got the other one.
I've got the one with the jacket and the pants. I don't have him in the khaki shorts and the short sleeve shirt.
I've got the one. It's on that same mold, but it's like his clothes are blue, and he came with different accessories. I can't remember what the hell the accessories were, but he had a little button, like his pocket was a button.
Yeah. Did he come with a headlamp?
No, I don't think it came with a headlamp.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Mine
remember
came with a headlamp.
But I also picked up like his wife, and I want to say his wife come with the dog, Susie or whatever the hell they used to call that dog. It was a black dog, and she had like that white X on her chest.
Yeah, I only picked up Steve Irwin. I didn't get his wife or anything.
I want to say the Steve Irwin I picked up in the blue came with a crocodile.
Yeah, the one I got came with like a wombat and a snake.
That sounds about right. Look at that snake, mates. Just over there minding its own business. This is the most venomous snake in Australia. I'm going to go over there and piss it off.
That's funny.
I remember, do y'all remember like the episode of that when he came to America? And one of the places that he went was South Carolina to hunt rattlesnakes.
I do not remember that one.
He comes across one and he's like, "Oh, look at that rattlesnake. She's a beaut. Watch this. I'm going to piss her off. Oh, listen to her rattle. She just peed and pooped all over herself. That's where that awful smell comes from. But listen to that rattle shake. Oh, she's really pissed. She's coming at me."
Have you seen this kid on YouTube? He's in the like Florida Everglades at night, just walking around barefoot. Just
no. Oh yeah,
I think here's a good one, and he just grabs an alligator by the tail and like yanks it up.
I did see that. I'm like, that's a fool right there.
That guy is mental, dude. He's gonna die.
That's like these fools that walk around in the damn woods and pick up a snake. No, hell no. That's too damn close.
Right? He sees like a big snake in the grass. He's like, yoink. He'll like say it too.
Fuck that. I'm the guy who found a snake in his bathtub one time and cut its head off with a sword. And that was too close for comfort for me.
Yeah, this guy,
he like long damn sword too.
He like puts his hand in a fucking anthill of like army ants or something and then lifts it up. He's like, "Oh yeah, they're biting me. It hurts."
Oh, like
I'm like, "Get him off your hand, retard."
My kids used to watch this guy, and I cannot remember his name, but he was a pretty big name in wildlife stuff. But his thing was he would go around and get stung by all these different, like one episode deals with wasps. So he goes around all over the world getting stung by wasps to rate how bad it hurts.
I remember that guy.
And they used to watch it because he did it with ants too. I remember
fire ants,
man. I remember
he did it with
ants.
those fire ants.
And he would put them on like the Scotia scale or some scale that he put it on to rate how bad it hurt.
It was like something pain index.
It sounds like that show on is it Access TV where the people go in there and the music people and they sit there and eat hot wings or something or real hot peppers and stuff.
It's similar to that, only he's getting stung by bugs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And there was one point, like he almost died. There was something he let sting him, and he almost died. And like they had to shoot him in the heart with adrenaline and take him to the hospital. It was just insane. I'm like, and you let it happen?
Yeah, on purpose.
That's just insane.
I mean, that's like
I don't want to be
doing
stung.
something that is probably about as dangerous as what Cobra Command is doing right here.
There's definitely a chance he's going to get bit.
Oh, here we go again.
Like mold, more like it. No, I put this together for Curtis, because the Commanders beat the Lions.
Oh, speaking of Commanders, I recently got the reissue of Emperor Palpatine with the throne.
Man, I bought that the first time it came out. I love that figure.
And the only thing that I don't like about
You're muted. I can't hear you, brother. I think your battery died.
Your battery died. Would you like to borrow mine? You can't see. Oh, sorry. That was loud.
Yeah, I use a snowball mic for recording my dialogue for my videos. And when I'm talking to you guys, it's just on the laptop's own mic.
Oh, cool. I mean,
nope, still can't hear you, brother. But now you're muted.
Oh, hold on. He's muted.
Yeah,
unmute
him. There, I got
it. There you
go. Sometimes there's just background noise going on here, so that's why I like to use.
Oh, yeah, I can tell you're on that microphone you had last night.
Yeah.
It sounds.
Yeah,
much
you were saying something about
canny.
Commanders before you.
Something about going.
Yeah,
Commando.
the Black Series Palpatine and Throne. The paint on that and like the 3 different head sculpts.
The lightning fingers
and the lightning, because unfortunately I thought maybe that lightning effect hands were the same ones that come with the Darth Sidious, the episode 3 Darth Sidious, but they're not. They will not fit that figure. They're too big.
Yeah. If I had one complaint about the figure is you have to have the Emperor in such a slouchy position to fit in that chair.
And he's got to stick his feet.
Ooh.
You got to point his feet down toward the floor, which is probably accurate to when they were filming, because they built that chair and it did have a mechanism in it to turn it, but it would not turn on cue. So Ian McDormand actually had to tippy-toe that chair to move it on cue. And so I kind of like, that's kind of funny that they did that. The only thing is, like his robe doesn't go all the way down and cover his feet up when he's in that sitting position. But like the hood on that robe is fucking garbage, man.
Is it?
It is. It's like it goes around his head like this.
Yeah, mine doesn't do that.
So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it in position and I'm gonna like pin it with a needle and thread.
Well, you know what I did with mine, and it's kept it like perfect since then.
Did you use the water trick?
Well, for a start, I did the water trick to get it in shape. But then when it was almost dry, I gave it one little spritz of hairspray.
I might try that.
For me, visually, in episode 3, when the Emperor, before he puts the hood on his head, he almost looks like two different people. And then when he finally like puts the head on, and then the shadows, the way the shadows fall, I just thought that was so well done with the makeup. That he and just with the headpiece there.
I would have been happy if they had never shown us him without a hood. Once he shot himself with the Force lightning, and he should have just had a hood on forever. I would have been happy with that.
Then why? Okay, he's doing the Force lightning. Why didn't he stop before that disfigured him so much? I mean,
it was something I read somewhere that it was like
it's prophetic.
It was an electrical circuit was completed, so it's like being electrocuted. So he couldn't, like if somebody grabs a live electrical wire, they can't let it go.
I had read that it was prophetic.
How so?
Right? He did it knowing what would happen to him, knowing that he would survive, and knowing that he would be able to manipulate the Senate with the very visible damage done by the Jedi.
That makes sense as well.
That does make sense.
Because you got to understand, Palpatine clearly has some like prophetic force abilities.
Oh yes,
he not only is he able to like know what's coming for him, but he's also able to make other people see what he wants them to see in terms of that shit too.
And that whole thing, I learned this. I didn't
he sent the Padme dreams to Anakin.
That's what I was fixing to get to. I didn't realize, like, when I watched the movie originally, I didn't understand until years later that that's what was going on. And I was like, the dude is
I never even thought about that. So you said
genius.
So he sent the dreams that Anakin had.
Dies, yeah.
Yeah,
wow, I've never considered that.
And it wasn't just that one night. It was he was doing it a lot. Like it was.
I mean, he was even doing it to Ben Solo in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what was the other thing I was oh gosh, I was gonna say about Palpatine. I can't remember.
You were going to say how much you love him.
I do. Excellent. Yes, as much as overpowered he was in Rise of Skywalker, just to see him back in that role, I really liked it. But he was just so incredibly overpowered at that point. And
yes, let me force lightning the entire Resistance fleet.
No, look.
Yeah,
I did not want Palpatine back because it
I know it undermines the story.
Everything that Vader died for in the fucking last movie.
It does.
And
it does.
every I won't say every bit of it, but I mean just the idea of that,
now changes
it
the
wasn't an
saga
original
to be
idea.
about Palpatine.
Dark Horse came up with that idea in the 90s.
Right.
But
it changes Empire. It. Because you have the original trilogy, so that's about Luke Skywalker. Then you get the prequels, which is about Anakin Skywalker, and then in the 7, 8, and 9, whatever the hell that was about,
trilogy.
The sequel trilogy, obviously
Force being female.
It's about a Palpatine finally erasing the Skywalker lineage altogether.
Right.
And I think there were a lot of missteps in it, but I think something they could have done to really improve that movie is like, instead of just using all the Jedi voices calling out to Rey, at the end there,
have them there.
They should have shown those Jedi in their ghost forms.
Well, honestly,
it made no sense because Rey didn't know any of those people.
And you're sitting there going, okay, so
the only one who should have been talking to Rey at that point was either Luke or Leia.
Yeah.
If you built Rey up to be the hero of that trilogy,
she was all Jedi.
Then it reminds it. I know. I still have a problem.
Palpatine was all the Sith, and she was all the Jedi.
But apparently, he had all these Sith. Well, that's true. All the Sith that came before, but he had all those acolytes in his chamber there or whatever, the Sith acolytes, the people in the crowds there. I assume they were all Sith. So,
and why the fuck were they building Star Destroyers underwater?
Yeah, I don't. That made no sense.
Because why the fuck not?
And how they could have amassed a fleet like that?
It's like, come on, man.
Especially where they were building it, that planet in the middle of the maelstrom or whatever. Right. How are they getting? I mean, were they mining the planet to get all the materials? They didn't have to outsource anything? For that many ships, I find that hard to believe.
How do you get the ships out of Exegol, right? through all of that.
Fought force power.
Right. How do all those ships take off at the same time without destroying the planet?
Magic. The same way that somehow
Rise of Skywalker is garbage, man.
Palpatine is
garbage.
Somehow he returned. And that's how they explained it. Really? That's it? Yeah. Somehow he returned.
Well, I mean,
that's J.J. Abrams illustrating that he doesn't know how to write an ending.
Right.
Oh, God. Speaking of that, Lost. Jesus Christ. I hate that last episode.
Yeah.
Dude, they picked the whole show. It's like this amazing show about all this like mysterious science. And then it's like, nope, none of that was real. They were in purgatory. Fuck you, man.
Oh, like the final battle. Well, I guess that's what you can call it. But, between I can't, Jacob. No, not Jacob. The one that was inhabiting Locke's body. But between Locke and Jack, the way they originally wrote that final battle is they were supposed to be battling in like a volcano that was erupting, and there was all this other shit going on, and ABC stepped in and said, "That's too expensive. You can't do it. Figure something else out."
Yeah, figure it out. Snap out of it.
I mean, hell, at the time, that was probably the most expensive show ABC was making.
Yeah, and everybody was watching it too.
Yeah, just fucking.
I'll watch that show religiously, man. Like the first season, I missed when it aired on TV, but I picked up I saw the box set DVD. I'm like, well, this looks interesting. I haven't seen it, so I picked that up, and the wife and I watched it, and they were like, okay, when the hell is this show coming back on? Because I got to know what happens. And it's amazing how they hook you with that show by answering a question and asking 5 more at the same time they answered a question.
Yeah.
And I thought for the most part, that show was well written. The way that all the characters were connected together, unbeknownst to them, that before they ended up on the island, they had at some point they had interacted. Be it, they bumped into each other at the airport, or it's like Sawyer was having drinks with Jack's dad. I mean, I just thought that was great storytelling. And then, they did the last episode.
Yeah, I wish it would have stayed a science show. But what do I know? Anyways, Ed wants to call it a night, so I think we should let him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's almost 2:00 anyway.
Yeah, I'm getting tired too.
To edit tomorrow. Actually, I got videos to upload tomorrow and a movie list to make.
Nice.
Well, thank y'all for being here. This was fun. Impromptu. Ooh.
It's always fun to hang out.
It is. It is. Ooh.
Unfortunately, this is the only way we can do it.
I know.
Locations being what they are.
Till I get my teleporter fixed.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, how different really is it from hanging out in real life? We'd be sitting on a couch next to each other watching.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? It's like, unless you're working on a project together,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
let me say, like,
same as hanging out in the same room, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Want some pizza? Yeah, let's order
a pizza.
Have to wait on the pizza, and then yeah.
Yes, and this way we don't have to see each other's bathrooms.
Right.
Okay.
You have the comfort of being in your own home. You don't have to follow anybody else's rules.
Right.
Yes, for all we know, Prophet is sitting at home wearing nothing but his mask.
Damn right. I've been completely naked and oiled up this entire time.
That's a vision I don't need.
I'm a 6-inch action figure, man. Don't be a perv.
Yes, he just popped his masked head off of the regular Destro body and put it on one of those blanks.
Yeah, you know what? What's funny is I actually do have some of those TB League male body blanks.
Are those the like the jointless ones? Not jointless,
they're seamless. They have
seamless.
Silicone body over a stainless steel skeleton.
I thought about doing that, and then I'm like, then I gotta buy all these damn expensive clothes to put on the damn thing.
No, I only use them for like naked scenes.
Oh,
right. No, like for example, if I have like a trooper gets injured or whatever, and they're in the doctors,
right,
I'll put that trooper's head on the naked body, and it's wearing underwear. It's not like
right. It's just like flesh colored.
Right.
So we'll probably close with this: Captain America: Brave New World on track for $94 million President's Day weekend. That's not bad.
I might
4 days.
See it tomorrow. I don't know.
I might. Yeah, it's people are all over the place. Most of it's negative, but there's some positive out there, and even people that are saying negative, there's some really good. The action is great in it, but there's action here, there's action here, there's it's got problems, but
I tend to be pretty forgiving when it comes to Marvel.
Yeah.
It just depends.
I mean, the movie has to really suck for me to say I hate it.
It does a lot of connective tissue, like bringing the Eternals and stuff.
As an adult, going back and reading the comic books I enjoyed as a child, and even some like I've never really read other than like an issue here, issue there. One of my favorites, and which really surprised me, was Thor. It really surprised me how much I enjoyed reading that book. And, except until like the last year or whatever, when he lost most of his powers and he was under the spell of the Enchantress and they were trapped on Earth. That was really, really bad.
You
and
know
then
what?
they
You know
ended
what,
up giving him that stupid costume.
You know, if they had let me write the first Thor movie, because you know they left out a whole aspect of his character where on Earth he's Donald. What's his name?
Yeah. Well, you know, they kind of alluded to that with.
It was her ex-boyfriend's clothes. Yeah, but you know what? For me, I would have. This would have been the opening scene if I had made that movie. Kid is getting brought into the ER, right? He's been, you know, he's got like half his body is like, you know, charred or whatever, and he's got, you know, he's like pretty badly damaged, right? And you could say, hey, it was like the wrecking crew, you know, who did this to him or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it turns out that Dr. Blake can't save him. So later, Dr. Blake goes up onto the roof, and you know, the girl, Natalie Portman's character, comes up there to console him, but he's inconsolable, and he's like, "These damn meta villains, man! What are regular people supposed to do against that?" And then she, like, the sky starts to get cloudy with his anger.
Yeah.
And then she, like, goes back inside because it's gonna rain. He says, "I'm gonna stay." And then they, you know, you pan off of him up to the clouds. You see lightning come down and strike near the camera. And then Blake is gone and Thor is flying off to fight the wrecking crew.
Yeah.
That's how I would have started the Thor movie.
And then later on, you get the story of how he becomes Donald Blake.
Right. The Asgard stuff would have come later, you know.
It's just like,
I want to establish Thor as an existing hero in the universe first.
Exactly. And, you know, I think like that Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie, as horrible as it was, you know, if they would have just had, you know, left Oa and what's the evil entity guy? Parallax.
Sinestro.
If they would have
Parallax.
left that pretty much out of the movie, like Parallax would have to be in the first of the movie to, you know, basically kill Abin Sur so that he crash lands on Earth, and then the ring finds Hal Jordan.
Well, see, I wouldn't have even done that. I wouldn't have even brought Parallax. I wouldn't have even mentioned him in the first movie. I would have had Sinestro being the villain. And I would have shown Sinestro as a Green Lantern in a flashback. You know what I mean? Because Sinestro is like the main villain for Green Lantern in all the old comics.
But
if you had Sinestro, like, have the opening scene be Sinestro giving into the fear instead of the willpower and becoming a Yellow Lantern and then turning on Abin Sur.
It's, you know, Sinestro's almost Anakin Skywalker in a way. Fear, you know, giving into fear
anyway,
to the dark side.
my whole point is, you know, most of the intergalactic stuff should have been left out of it. It should have been, you know, the ring, the main part of the story, the ring coming to Hal and him learning on his own how to use it, and then, you know, depending on how well that did in the box office, the sequel, you introduce Oa and the Green Lantern Corps and so on. But you know, that first movie should have been a standalone Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Right, and
movie.
the only other ring character in the movie should have been Sinestro. And Sinestro should have been, because you could say Sinestro was trying to, the reason he kills Abin Sur is because he was trying to get the ring. And that could be the reason Sinestro went to Earth to try and get the ring from Jordan. And Jordan has no choice but to figure it out on the fly. And at the end of the movie, when Jordan finally defeats Sinestro, that could be when Kilowog shows up and says, "Hey, you know, it's time time for you to see the boss, Poozer, you know, whatever." But yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. You know, the problem is they think all of us as fans are idiots, and they feel the need to over-explain everything to us.
Right. That's one criticism of the new Captain America, is there's a lot of exposition in it. Like it kind of opens with a bunch of exposition. They got like some news reports that like
it's
fill in the blanks for you.
I mean, from what I understand, it's a lot of politics going on too. So
It's a political thriller, and that part works for me. The political thriller aspect of it. And like I said, Harrison Ford for me was a highlight of the movie. He really elevated that character. Not to take away from the John Hurt or whoever
William
did it
Hurt,
before.
not John Hurt.
William Hurt. Sorry. Yeah, totally different guys.
Yeah, I get them confused sometimes too.
I do that. Yeah. But you know, Harrison Ford did like I love a review that said he did not phone it in. You know.
Yeah.
Even the transformation period, but I mean there's a fight between the U.S. and Japan. That was a great sequence. At one point, I was kind of feeling a little anxiety. I was like, I'm really feeling this, you know, in the theater. And then the Hulk fight, you know, I really think one of the reviews I said the fact that it got, you know, postponed a year, the whole film, it gave them more time, not like Quantum Medium where they were rushed, you know, scenes changing and they had to CGI stuff on the fly, kind of like that. The CGI looks really good. There are parts where it looks fake, but where the movie feels like it's taped together.
The real test of that is when it comes out to streaming. Yeah. And people are able to watch it on their TVs as to how well that stuff holds up.
I think it was very believable. I thought it all held up well, the CGI.
Like some CGI looks really crappy. It looks really good in theater. Right. And then when you watch it at home, it looks like shit.
But the point being that they had more time to make sure it looked right. The Hulk, I thought, looked good, the Red Hulk. Anyway, I don't want to say too much more.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of show don't tell.
Right.
A great example of that is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Love that
you
film.
Get so much exposition in there with no dialogue. Like just when Scott goes home, and you get all the like labels clicking up on everything. Wallace's, Scott's, Wallace's.
I thought it was funny though.
Like it tells you so much about the character without telling you anything about the character.
Yeah. But for me, somehow it works. I love that film.
Oh, it's one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, last thing here. That's the latest tomato meter or whatever score. 51% from critics, but 80% from the public or fans. So I don't think those are terrible numbers. They're not great numbers, but the 80 is surprising. I thought the 80 would be much lower. But so the audience seems to like it more.
I don't know how trustworthy Rotten Tomatoes is anymore.
They're really not. They're not like they used to be. Yeah, I agree. And that's 243 reviews for the 51% on there, and the 80%, they call it a popcorn meter, is 2,500 plus verified ratings. Yeah. Anyway,
I guess we'll see. I'm gonna watch it. I'm just not gonna go to the theater to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, if you miss it in the theater, it's fine. But you know, I feel like they're turning the ship. They could have done a much better movie but I'm giving them credit for.
Yes, I want Pip the Troll to have his own movie.
There you go. Or Disney Plus series, right? At the very least.
You know, at some point they got to hook him up with Adam Warlock.
Yeah, I felt like they wasted Adam Warlock in that.
I think so too.
Because
I was like, you know, I didn't realize, like, when I watched Guardians Volume 2 the first couple of times, I didn't realize, you know, that's what it was, at least until, you know, she says she's going to name him Adam, and then it dawned on me, holy shit, that's Adam Warlock.
You're like,
gold-skinned people with yellow hair. How did I not see that before?
Right. Well, but even in the comics, he started out, you know, Adam Warlock started out as he.
Yeah.
And he was
in the
not
Fantastic
a good guy.
Four.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I hate how he's kind of doofy in this film, in Guardians. He's like,
well, he's a newborn.
True. I get.
He was very, he was very childlike in the comic books. He was very childlike when he first
was he? Okay.
Is removed from his cocoon or hatches out his cocoon or whatever it was.
Makes sense. I guess so.
And then all it was, he wanted love.
Okay.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, that's why when I look at the MCU, I ignore all comic books. Right? Because the MCU, they're doing their own thing. It's kind of like when whatchamacallit, Marvel Comics did the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Like you had to let go of all your previous Marvel knowledge in order to enjoy that, because it was a rewrite, basically. It was a reboot.
And not necessarily have to let go, because a lot of the there were a lot of like Easter egg type stuff that was put in there in the Ultimate,
including the birth of the MCU.
Yes.
Because there's an issue of the Ultimates where they're all sitting around talking about who would play them in the movies. And it gets to Nick Fury, and he's like, who do you think? Samuel motherfucking Jackson.
Yeah. Which is funny because that version of Nick Fury, the artist actually based on Samuel Jackson.
Right. Which is why Sam got the call for the role.
Yep.
All right, for this time, for real, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Ed go.
Yeah, same here.
We have another 15-minute tangent.
I don't know how to end it, right? All right.
Have a good night, fellas.
Goodbye.
Yeah, JJ Abrams.
Later,
just ended.
Bye.
See you next Sunday for sure.
Yep. All right, later.